right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your host, Mr.BDA. I'd like to have you on board. And as always, with me, my co-host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now listen, guys. First of all, before we get down to business, Bucho, you have some announcements to read, right?
Yep. I want to thank the latest super chat donors. We have Tommy Temper, Graham Lanson, Steven Schneider, of course, G Boogie. We also have Apology Man, Undercover Asian, the Great Kyle, John Gonzalez, and See Me. I think those from last month. Also, we want to thank the Patreon subscribers.
That's right.
Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, let's not forget our Patreon subscribers. And yeah, if you guys want to help the show, you can always use our Amazon affiliate link. The link is in the description. So whatever you buy on Amazon, BDA Boxing gets a small commission out of it. You don't have to pay extra or anything, so it doesn't hurt to just click the link and help us out by using the affiliate link. So that's pretty much it.
That's right. Why don't you go ahead and help us out a little bit?
You still want to promote that Jolly Klitschko, but
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, Bucho.
What?
You broke up, I said. You broke up.
Oh, did you hear everything I said before, or just...
Yeah, but except I think you said something about Klitschko.
Oh yeah, do you still want to promote that video?
You know what? If people want to check it out, you know what to say. Look, listen, I wasn't here yesterday to talk about the Joshua Povetkin fight. Suffice to say, you saw how a real offensive fighter takes care of a guy who's aggressive. No mauling, no hugging. You know, if I would have been Povetkin's promoter or manager, whatever, for the Vladimir Klitschko fight, I would have filed a police report. And I would have pressed charges for sexual molestation, because what Vladimir Klitschko did was downright disgusting. It's not going to happen in my town. I can tell you that much right now. And so I was glad to see how Joshua and Povetkin comported themselves like gentlemen. Now, of course, Bucho, I don't know if you saw, but Joshua wasn't without his dirty tricks either. I don't know if you saw the fight against Povetkin, but he was holding Povetkin behind the head before launching that right uppercut. He does that all the time. Probably learned it from his buddy, Lennox Lewis.
As well, no?
Yeah, well, Klitschko, like Virtuoso in the chat is saying Klitschko. By the way, before we continue, shout out to Recognize the Matrix in the chat, Michael Palaco, Jokeland, Mateus Lise, Overhand, Virtuoso. And Overhand says, King Butchers, you're back today from carrying BDA all week, LOL. Well, listen, trying to do a show here, trying to entertain the masses. And people are coming at me, calling me lazy. You think I'm gonna let that happen? You think I'm gonna take that? No. No, but anyway, look, listen, it's good to be back, and that's really all I have to say about Joshua versus Povetkin. It's people were saying that Joshua was overrated and that he was on the downslide because of the mediocre, as people would call it, performances against Joshua and Takam. But those guys were, like we said before the fight, they were defensive fighters. They weren't willing to put up in terms of offense. And so that's why Joshua didn't look good. He's a boxer-puncher. He's not a calm-forward destroyer. So if you don't commit, he's going to be just content to box you from the outside. But you saw Povetkin wasn't content with that. He wanted to go in and put on some pressure. And so that's where we had the entertaining fight that we saw last night. But listen, that fight, it's past. It's gone. Now we have Fury versus Wilder to look forward to. But of course, now with also Canelo Golovkin, the rematch passed, it's good because now we can get back to business and to pay attention to some of the fights that some people might not have been, or that we actually in the show haven't been, you know, investing that much time into, and where we should, because they are entertaining fights. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about the 140-pound tournament that's going to be coming up. I think it's one of my favorite things coming up in boxing in the next couple of months. By the way, hold on a second. I have to fix something. I have to fix something here. Hold on. There we go. All right. Sorry, I just had to fix something in the chat. We have Virtuoso. We have Nino Gadji in the house as well. Uncle Burnt apostrophe. And Nino Gadji says, Fury Wilder will be a dog shit fight. They should pay me to watch that fight. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think for the event is going to be big. And as boxing fans, we love events. Also, Bucho, it is a December fight. And you know what happens with December fights? They usually, for some reason, I don't know, it's just superstition, what we're talking about right now. But most of the time, December fights tend to deliver. And so that's what we're looking forward to this one. Uncle Burnt apostrophe says, Okoli for fight of the night. Come on. I didn't see that fight. I heard it sucked. Nino Gadget says, what's up, BDA Boxing? What's up, right back? Overhand says, I never want to see Okoli on TV again. I don't know. I didn't even know what happened. What happened, Bucho? I heard the fight sucked.
I didn't see it either, but yeah, I keep hearing that it was complete fucking garbage.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That is an absolute shame.
I think the whole card sucks. People in the chat, let us know. I think that's what I saw yesterday when I was doing the show in the chat where he was complaining about the undercard. So.
Well, Bucho, we actually have audio of just a little clip of the whole undercard last night. Was that's like the overall overview, right, of the undercard last night?
Yeah, that's pretty much the sound of the whole card, man.
I got more if you want.
Who cares, man? No, everybody was there to watch Joshua.
I got more sound effects if you want.
Good fight.
Bucho, I got more sound effects if you want. Or is that
all right,
did I make my point? No, but did I make my point or?
Oh yeah, you made your point, man. Absolutely.
Because I didn't hear you.
Speak English, you cunt.
All right, listen. Oh, people are saying, Uncle Burnt says, rival Klitschko versus Povetkin. Jibuki says, yeah, the undercard is garbage, like Ronnie Diarrhea. If Fury wins, says Nino Gadji, 78 will check into a mental health facility immediately. Well, look, I mean, Butch, are you looking... Let's just briefly touch upon that fight. Are you looking forward to Fury Wilder? In terms of the actual fight,
yes.
Forget the build-up.
No, I mean, the actual fight. No, I'm intrigued by the outcome of the fight. But I can see this being a huge stinker. So, I'm not looking forward to the fight itself, as in it's going to be an action-packed fight. But like I said, again, I'm just want to see the result. I'm intrigued. Can Fury pull off the upset? That's what I want to see.
Bucho is intrigued. All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. G Boogie says, I hope Tyson Fury mops the floor and outboxes the crap out of Beyonce Wilder. Well, look, listen, we're going to be having a lot of coverage for that one. We're going to talk about it as the fight approaches. I think our panelists also are going to have a lot to say about that one. For the moment, let's talk a little bit about the fight that nobody really talked about from 2 weeks ago. Antonio Orozco versus Jose Luis Ramirez. Actually, what am I talking about? Not Jose Luis Ramirez. I always confuse him with Jose Luis Ramirez. Hold on a second. What am I talking about here? Let me get his name right, people, because he does deserve respect. Of course, we're talking about... And my goodness, they don't even have him ranked here at Ring Magazine. Oh yeah, Jose Ramirez. 23-0 with 60 knockouts. He beat Antonio Orozco. It was a very good fight. Antonio Orozco and Ramirez, very similar fighters. But Ramirez just more polished. Just more polished. It's both sluggers, really. And again, here you see Ramirez now ranked 3rd by Ring Magazine. And Orozco drops to number 7. Orozco, for a long time, a lot of people, he wasn't training properly. He was missing weight. He was phoning it in most of the time in his performances. But he showed up in shape for this one. And he took quite a beating from Ramirez. It was a competitive fight round by round. But, of course, in the scorecards, Ramirez just dropped him, I think 2 times. And then hurt him as well. Both guys went to the body. I tell you, Ramirez, he is the best fighter not to be fighting in the World Boxing Super Series Championship. He is a dangerous guy. If you don't show up in shape against him, he's going to run you over. And Bucho, here's the thing I like about Ramirez. I don't know if you remember Ramirez. He's the guy that beat Amir Imam. And I don't know if you were able to see the Orozco fight. But you remember Ramirez is the type of guy that puts pressure, but he does it with defense.
All right, you're cutting off, man.
All right, you remember Ramirez, how he fights? What I like about him is that he fights with defense. He's aggressive. He's willing to open himself up, but he's defensively responsible, is what I'm saying. Like, he brings his hands up, he rolls with the shots. And that was really the main difference between him and Orozco. Orozco, when he was trading, he would drop one hand, he would stay there and admire his work, and that's why he got caught a whole bunch of times. And the other thing I liked about Ramirez is he was pumping that jab. Pumping that jab. So Ramirez really a dangerous fighter, man. All right, what's going on here? All right, yeah, if you can start inviting people.
Yeah, I sent some invites, man.
All right, perfect.
And let me check who the fuck that is, because the hell.
All right.
It's boxing styles.
Yeah. So that's the thing. This Ramirez, very, very tough fighter. Now, this reminds me again a little bit of that Super 6 tournament from a couple of years ago. Remember on Showtime, they had Andrew Ward, Dirrell, Kessler, and Abraham were the favorites going in. They had Jermaine Taylor as well. And a lot of people said it was almost the perfect tournament, except for the fact that Lucien Bute, who many at the time considered him to be the #1 guy in the division, or at worst #2, he wasn't in it because he had a special. No, wait, what happened again? My memory is kind of sketchy. Anyway, he didn't fight in the tournament, and a lot of people expected him to fight the winner, and lo and behold, he ended up taking on Carl Froch in what people thought was going to be an easy fight for Bute. For some people, I knew it wasn't. Listen, I'm going to toot my own horn here, Bucho. I remember people in my gym saying, some people were saying, oh, you know, Bute, he beat Glenn Johnson easier than Carl Froch, therefore Bute is going to beat him easy. I'm thinking, that's boxing math, you motherfuckers. I kept my mouth shut, I stayed respectful, but people didn't really know back then how tough Carl Froch. See, that's the thing, Bucho. He lost against...
They never mentioned Bute almost getting knocked out against...
Andrade.
Exactly. I mean, come on. Did you ever see Froch do that shit, man?
Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing.
And Bute got like a 20 fucking count, man. So
listen, Butcher, this is what I always say. Boxing, it's a lot like being in organized crime. You're only as good as your last envelope, or in boxing, you're only as good as your last fight. When he lost to Andrew Ward, people were like, oh, he sucks. Carl Froch sucks. Well, I mean, he lost against Andrew Ward. It's not like he lost against some bum. And so that's why people were counting him out. But that's boxing in general. You have one bad performance, all of a sudden, boom, you're finished. You have to prove yourself again. People don't give fighters their own credit. Anyway, before I continue this diatribe and talking about this 140-pound division, we do have Cameron and Boxing Style on the line.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
And we have Boxing Style as well. Gentlemen, thank you for being on. I'm
for having me here, bro.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a bit hesitant of having Cameron on. I mean, the guy's a casual. I don't know if we should have him in among this esteemed panel.
I'm surprised I'm on, man. I've literally just done 5-hour podcast on my own channel with a bunch of people. Recognised was on there. I'm surprised I'm even on this, man. I've literally been speaking boxing for non-stop all evening already. So
yeah, I saw that. I saw somebody
sounds like a casual. Sounds like a casual to me.
Yeah, I'm a casual. I'm a super casual.
Oh, he got it casual because 80% of the world says Triple G won, and he's thinking Canelo won.
Let me
Oh, here we go, man.
I'm messing with you, bro. Just
let me look at the chat. Fuck you, Boxing Style. Let me look at the chat. I'm waiting for this Azzy to come in the chat. I hope he's coming on the show tonight to prove me wrong.
Probably not.
If he comes to the chat, man,
you know,
it's gonna be interesting.
Who's this guy?
Somebody
it's probably you on another account, Boxing Style, knowing you.
Nah, that's not me, bro. Oh, that's the guy you were talking about trolling you?
Yeah, the Azzy guy, yeah.
You know, somebody in the comment section, somebody in the comment section of our last podcast said that casual. Hold on, I'm looking for the comment here. Yeah, it's Nick46. He left a comment last episode. He says, casual is such a BS term anyway. I've met guys who claim to watch loads of boxing, but are tribal morons who can debate objectively. Then you have other people who are just getting into the sport who offer great opinions. I'll take wisdom over knowledge any day. Or anyway, but see, that's the thing.
Hey guys, I got something to tell you guys about this UFC fight coming up with Khabib and McGregor.
All right.
I have a pick. I have a pick who's going to win this fight.
Now, is this better be good, man? Because you did interrupt me.
Okay, good.
So you better make it good.
It's gonna be Khabib, bro.
Oh yeah, I
It's gonna be
agree.
a domination. It's gonna be an embarrassment stand-up. People don't underestimating Khabib's stand-up. It's gonna be an embarrassment.
BDA,
You know what?
did you say that?
Apology. I mean, Boxing Style. I asked a former champ from a organization here in Quebec. He's a former 2-time MMA champ, and I asked him, "Do you think? Well, how do you see McGregor Khabib going?" He said, "Either standing up or on the ground, Khabib beats him because people are like exactly what you said. People are underrating his stand-up."
Oh yeah, I wasn't there for that chat because I bounce in and out sometimes because I don't have.
No,
my
I said I
comments.
was at the gym, at my gym, not at.
Oh,
this
at your
fucking
gym. Oh, my
Yeah.
bad.
And here's the thing. I don't know if
that's good
people.
shit.
Well, listen, I don't know if people saw the press conference. I know. Listen, I know this is a boxing. Remember, guys, this is an entertainment show centered around boxing. So we will talk about anything that's related to combat sports or anything that's entertaining. So just real quick, let me ask you, Boxing Style, since you're talking about this subject, did you see the press conference?
Yeah, I did see the press conference. I thought McGregor was talking out of his ass. I think he was out of his realm. Like usually he's on point. He's usually on point and just steamrolling his, like, you know, all the comebacks he got and all that shit that he does. But he had no voice over Khabib's legit claim about his friend getting slapped and why he got slapped. He just didn't say shit because he knows that was a bitch move by his friend calling him a pussy in some other channel and shit. And he confronted him and then he didn't do shit about it.
Yeah, I agree with Boxing Style. Yeah, all McGregor applauded when Khabib was asking a legit question. All McGregor was like, he was saying, he was taking a piss out of him, going meh, saying suck my Irish balls, ask my balls. Like McGregor was terrible in that press conference. It might have been the worst press conference I've ever seen from McGregor, actually.
You know, people usually say, "Oh, McGregor, he's so good at trash talking," but sometimes it's cringe-worthy. And this whole press conference against Khabib was cringe-worthy. I thought he was trying way too hard, and I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me like everything's lining up for him to get his ass kicked. First of all, Khabib's a beast.
He's got worse. He's got worse over time. Like I said it on Twitter during the thing. Like when he first came on the scene, you know, he was more. You know, he wasn't standing up. He wasn't shouting and swearing. His trash talking and his mental warfare was actually pretty good. Nowadays, it's just him standing up, shouting and swearing at people. That's not trash talking. That's not good trash talking. Like anybody can do that.
Don't get it wrong, though. Don't get it wrong. He got to Khabib, though, a little bit. Not too much. About talking about his ancestry, like the Tajikistan country and shit. He kind of got to him, but not too much. He was mostly silenced.
Like, Khabib's going to wreck him regardless.
Yeah, he is. He's going to wreck him. There's no doubt. It's going to be amazing that Floyd is going to be sucking down his thumb when he finds out that he beat him up standing up, too.
Yeah, Conor, I've seen in the chat, people saying that, yeah, Conor was on something at press conference, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. I think everything lines up for him to lose this fight because, first of all, factor number one, Khabib, he's a fucking monster. Number two, Conor has been off long layoff, probably doing coke, probably drinking. The money's gotten to his head. I mean, I think everything points to him getting mauled in that October fight.
Yeah, Khabib. I can't agree with what Boxing Style said. There was a moment where Khabib kind of, you can see that, you know, he was pretty annoyed. But I think it's like, if there's one guy that Conor's not gonna destroy before the fight mentally, it's gonna be Khabib. Like Khabib's just the wrong guy to try with.
Right. Then again, he does have boxing experience now, so that's probably gonna.
If he fixed his stamina issue, like big time fix it, then maybe we have a real like toss up of a fight over here, like a 50-50 with.
Well, did he drop off?
He's like 26-0 for a reason. Cause I mean, it's not like he's never faced a guy with a good stand up.
Well, that's what he said.
And the thing is, the problem with it is that Khabib, the guys that he stand up with, he made him look bad too, man. He made him look like shit. I had to replay his fights and see, like, is he actually landing? They throw like.
Okay, Boxing Style, you're breaking up, man.
He lands that.
Johnson did clip him, though. Johnson did clip him.
He clipped him, but it really didn't phase him much like they claim. Like
Khabib's got this invincible aura where if anybody lands anything like Johnson did, they'll blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, pretty much. Joe Rogan hates his ass. I found that out too.
Why?
What,
He does
Khabib?
not. Yeah, he hates Khabib, bro. He does not like him.
He
Why,
was
why, why?
slating in that last fight. He was slating in the shit.
But wait,
He was saying everything bad about the guy.
His chin is up, but he's kicking his ass, bro. He's driving.
Yeah.
It's like
Winning
ridiculous, bro.
Winning every round, but he's struggling and shit. It's just...
It's stupid as hell. Like I don't know how he's commentating like that.
well, look, listen. McGregor has that type of power in MMA to knock anybody's lights out. But if he gets mauled, listen, he said in the press conference, he says, well, now I'm in shape. I learned my lesson from the Diaz fight, so I'm going to show up in shape. But when you got fucking a guy mauling you, every time you get up, that takes a lot out of your health bar. So I don't know if he's going to be... But anyway, listen, that fight's still coming up in October. So we'll see what happens. And by the way, Rogan, don't forget, he's a guy that said that everybody that wins a championship, all of a sudden they become the best of all time. He's the one that said that Ronda Rousey would beat Mayweather in a fight, in a real fight. So he gets paid to say this type of shit. And by the way, people are saying, people in the chat say, who said it? Domariki says,
what the hell?
yeah, he says Rogan hates Khabib because he's Muslim and Rogan is a Jew. I don't know if that's...
Rogan is not a Jew. Is he a Jew?
No, he's Italian, half Italian, half
Yeah.
Irish, but I think he's married to a Jewess. So I think that's what...
Jewish.
Is that the right term?
That's hilarious.
Who said Rogan's a Jew? Alan
Domereki.
Drameriki. Sorry if I
Domereki.
pronounced your name wrong, bro. Drameriki? Is that how you pronounce your name, bro?
I don't know. He should come in and tell us. He should come in and tell us. Apology, man. And by the way, we don't accept anti-Semitism, especially not any bad words towards our greatest ally, Israel. So keep that anti-Semitism away from us.
What is
Thanks
that?
for Israel.
Is that
We've
kind of
got-
soap or something? Is that a soap? Anti-Semitic? Is that what that is?
Oh, coming up with the fucking jokes.
Okay.
By the way, we got Abstract Boxing on the line.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What do we mean when we say throwing punches with bad intention? We mean we want to seriously hurt people.
All right, that was fucking
Gets me
loud. I
every
don't know.
time that intro.
Cameron,
Alright.
shut up, man. Don't. It makes it worse. Like
Gets me every time.
it gets me as well. But I just like now I know when as soon as it finishes, I'm going to hear you chuckling away, and it's like
It just makes me laugh. It just sounds so brutal, man.
It needs a revision, I think.
No, it's fine the way it is.
He thought he's dead in the ring.
I thought
Well,
mine
that's-
was like Stone Cold Steve Austin's like walking song or some shit like that. I'm not mistaken.
But I was so excited to have an intro. Like I felt like I'd arrived when I got an intro on the BD, the best podcast on YouTube. I felt like I'd arrived as a human being. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that may cause me to overlook the fact that it was a bit weak.
Well, listen, Abstract Boxing, he's always, he wants to revise his intro. He always wants to revise everything. Like in the private Google Hangouts, he keeps sending me messages about revising the intro, revising the Holocaust. It wasn't 6 million. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you got to give that shit a rest, man.
How dare you? How fucking dare you, BDA?
Well, that's, I mean,
I miss my old intro. I miss my old intro. You know, one where I'm like, he's putting steroids in his chin. I miss that intro.
You didn't
that's
like
a bad
it?
intro.
No, I know, but in hindsight, I miss it, man. Have you still got it? I want to hear that intro.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere.
Yeah, man, I like that. When I just all I remember is that comment where I said, I can't remember what fight it was, but I went, he needs to put steroids in his chin. That was a great comment.
Cameron, just own the ass munching thing. This is all about the ass munching thing, man. Just own
it's-
it, bro.
Accept
got
who
a
you
lot.
are.
Like,
Accept who you are as a human being, man. You eat ass. It's all good.
It would have been good
Yeah.
if they have like a dog flapping his tongue in the background.
honestly, I just need to use Abstract's profile picture as my profile picture, maybe.
Yeah, but well, hold on. Which picture? Because he's got two. He's got one when his boxing style, and another when his Nana, or what's his name? His alter
I want
ego.
that Abstract's one with a dog.
No, I'm talking about boxing style. He's got
Boxing style uses his sister's account, doesn't he, or something like that?
right, and he's got a different picture and everything. He's like him with a wig and makeup on.
Don't tell him the secret, bro.
Hey,
Tell
it's
him the
our little secret. All right, people in the chat room are cheating on Joe Rogan. I'll say I like Joe Rogan. I like his podcast. Of course, when he talks about boxing, it's not his expertise. He spends most of his time on MMA. So of course he's gonna get some names wrong. But yeah, apparently, like Nino says, he called Juan Manuel Marquez. He called him Jose Marquez. So but hey, man,
apparently Jews are part of white supremacy. You can guess who said that in the chat.
Wait, what?
Wait a minute, apologies on the call with that mask again. What the fuck is going on here?
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Bernard Hopkins, isn't he?
He's trying. It's his professors in university. They're trying to instill that whole back to Africa heritage thing. So that's why he's wearing those weird masks.
Apologies going to be one of these guys that basically never shows their face. He's got this really creepy voice, this mask on the video, and shit in the darkness somewhere.
Hey, BDA, click on his on apologies, whatever it is. Yeah, profile.
Yeah, man.
Wait a minute, he called Lomachenko Sergey Lomachenko?
Apparently.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I've got apologies to enlarge. I've enlarged it. I've just clicked on his profile.
Speak of the devil, and it shall appear.
She just wanted the drama and you two to fight over her. That's what women do.
Your punishment must be masturbate.
I lost respect for all of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
There you
have
have
the end of apologies intro is well too long, I think.
The what? The end? No, but it's crucial. It's crucial that we get that because it represents Apology Man's views on women, culture, politics.
Abstract's got the best intro for me.
Really?
It also represents Apology's sort of like hip hop background. You know the fact that he's a world famous rapper and stuff.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, what was
I think Stu's is the best. It's hilarious.
Which one's Stu's?
He had two. I can't remember what his first one was, but that was a good one as well.
The last one is the best one. The one he has right now is the best.
Oh, we talking about David Price.
Yeah, it never gets old.
Hey, how come?
So what happened with David Price? He quit or something? I didn't see that fight.
Yeah, well, like Abstract's intro says, we want to see these guys get hurt, and he didn't do that last night.
Oh my god!
I was surprised when I saw him like banging it out. I'm like, this ain't gonna last that long.
Yeah, he just gasses. I mean, I think a bigger problem for Price is even bigger problem in his chin is the fact that he gasses. I mean, if you look at the Christian Hamer fight, he was gassing after the second round. He was like fucking could barely make it back to the fucking corner. I mean, like Jesus. Did anybody see a Coley asking?
Oh, don't even go there.
So you see the other night when I was saying a Coley's trash and he falls in all the time. If anybody's seen the fight of the weekend, now you know what I'm talking about. God Almighty, that guy's.
I never want to see a Coley on another pay-per-view card again.
No, I remember the Chamberlain fight. That fight was trash.
I missed that fight. I watched the Campbell fight.
Yeah, you don't need to watch.
Yeah, Campbell did good, but Cody was just. You know what? Cody was on Twitter today, and he was getting slaughtered. I was on Twitter during the whole thing, slaughtering this guy because the guy was actually horrendous to watch. He should have been disqualified in there last night. It was that bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, actually, I did see that fight. What am I talking about? I did see that. Yeah,
I agree.
The guy was keep hugging and shit, headbutting and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was like the Klitschko Povetkin, but only I think it was actually a bit worse. At least, like Klitschko's at least like stopping doing that to actually throw punches and that. Coley was just. Oh man, it was fucking horrendous to watch. I agree. You think he should have been disqualified?
Yeah.
Like his Ward's bigger brother in there.
No, it's worse than Ward. At least Ward actually does effective work. Like,
yeah.
You know, the thing is, the Coley for me, like they need to keep him on the next gen shows. Like he was only on that pay-per-view on the card last night because Joshua's manages him and things like that. That's the only reason he was on it, but. Cody needs to stay on pay-per-view on the cards. Like, if you're bumping the pay-per-view price up 20 quid from $16.95, whatever the hell it was before, you best stack the entertainment up on the undercard, and Cody doesn't bring that. So,
yeah, but
by the way,
Eddie Hearn's trying to push that little generation of Olympians, isn't he? He's trying to sort of like force the issue with these guys, and to be honest, a lot of them just they ain't that. He's trying to make them into something that's just not like. You know what I mean?
I think the only one I like. Is Boazzi.
I was about to say that. Boazzi, yeah. Boazzi's decent.
I think
by the way,
Cordine is not bad, but I think Boazzi's a star in a lot.
Let me hold on. I just want to clarify something here. Bucho in the chat room says Rogan shit all over boxing back in 2007, and now he's backtracking.
Oh, let it go, man.
You're obsessed with that, Bucho.
I think it goes.
Yeah, Butcher, you're obsessed with that, man. You're
looking
obsessed
at
with
boxing as a revered sport, and all the guys that were doing watching boxing are revering the guys in the MMA now. It's like both of those.
I just remember Rogan and Lou DiBella on that thing where they were going back and forth about what's better sport.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was shitting all over boxing, and then he backtracked saying, "I know, I was just joking." Like he was saying he was gonna die, basically. How wrong he was.
Yeah.
That was back when they were saying. That was back when they were saying.
Yeah, it's dying. He's been dying for how long now? Fucking 10 years? Come on, man.
Yeah, that was back when they were saying that MMA was gonna be as big as the NFL in the United States.
Oh, yeah. They were out of control, these people with the UFC, man. And by the way, I've been watching UFC since the fucking 90s, man.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I got a question on the thing last night. Maybe it's one that Abstract and Apology will answer. I'm not too sure if everybody else. I think Boxing Dollar said he watched it. What did everybody make of Luke Campbell's performance last night against Mendy? Because I feel like I'm glad he avenged the loss, but I feel like that rematch should have happened well before now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the rematch. I understand why.
I think he did a good job, man. He boxed his ass up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck was Mendy doing at the end of the fight, celebrating and shit? I mean,
because he's an idiot.
Yeah, he actually thought he won. He was actually saying that as well, that he got robbed. For me, that was. I don't know. Mendy maybe 3 rounds, maybe.
I gave him 3 rounds.
Yeah,
that was being generous, if you know what I mean. I had it 118, 110, I think.
Nah, but you know the thing is that to look like you're confident that you won sometimes works out, bro.
I did 10-2. I did 10-2 to Campbell. Sorry.
Look at Canelo, bro. You know what I mean? The first fight, at least. Like, you look like you're confident you win. Sways the judges' minds.
I like Campbell. I mean, obviously they're talking about Garcia vacating the WBC and him fighting Hot Fortuna for the belt. That's a good fight, Luke Campbell against Javi Fortuna.
Yeah.
For a belt. So I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Mikey Garcia walks through Luke Campbell, let's be real. But I like the Fortuna fight.
Luke Campbell just lacks that punching power, man. Luke Campbell, hold on. Just want to say Luke Campbell lacks punching power because he's not that great a boxer either. I mean, he's pretty good, top 10. But like you guys are saying, Mikey Garcia, man, I don't know. I think he gets beat by the elite, which are the top 5%.
I think Garcia walks Campbell down, I think.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to keep him off.
Yeah, but Campbell has better foot movement than Mikey Garcia does. He's gonna avoid a lot of shit, so he's gonna survive. He's gonna survive for 12 rounds. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna beat Mike Garcia's gonna beat him, no doubt. But
I don't agree. He's got better footwork than Mikey.
Yeah, his power isn't there though. That's the problem.
Mikey Garcia's footwork's not that great.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. I disagree, man, because he doesn't move around all that much, but he does. Technically, he's got very sound footwork because, listen, you don't have punching power if you have bad footwork, and this guy is always on balance. He's always set to punch and counter and knock your lights out with his counter punches. I'd say his footwork is some of the best in boxing. That's what I'm willing to say.
I completely agree. Completely agree. He doesn't. Like you say, he doesn't dance around and everything, but he's always in position to throw. He's like 99% of the time he's in position where he can't be hit as well. I think he's got excellent footwork, Mikey.
No, he got great footwork. Don't get it wrong. He needs that footwork to cut off the ring and all that stuff. But the problem is that when it comes to like the mobility of Campbell, he's not going to match up with that. And Campbell has honestly, I think he has better foot movement. He just does.
But did you see?
He has more angles and shit.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant by what I said.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't listen. What's his name? Robert Easter Jr. was trying to make Garcia come to him, and Garcia was perfectly content to outbox the taller guy from the outside. So I don't think. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Luke Campbell gets whitewashed or anything or completely outgunned. Actually, I do think he's outgunned in this one, but I think Mikey Garcia is just... Oh, people dropped off. I just think Mikey Garcia is just too good, man. And I think he can outbox Luke Campbell. Footwork or no footwork. He's just got that jab too straight. His big right hand is too fucking powerful. And he's just too smart and seasoned, I think, to lose to Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
He won't lose to him, for sure. But the thing is, would he knock him out? That's the question.
I mean, the fight's not happening. The fight's not happening because I mean, I don't know why they think Garcia is going to vacate. I mean, why is that? What is there? Has Garcia said he's going to vacate the WBC or something?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to titles.
I don't think so, man. I think I don't know what he's doing. He's trying to get prepped for Spence, or acting like he's prepping for Spence, and then going for someone else. I have no idea. But he is training. I saw some videos of him training.
And by the way, sorry to interrupt, but people are still talking about it in the chat room about Rogan and MMA. King Butcher says UFC was a hit because of the novelty of it. Also, Brock Lesnar brought a lot of WWE fans. Overhand says Joe Rogan was the worst with Ronda Rousey. It was disgusting. Yeah, he really went too far. But I bet it's because he got the order from his bosses at the UFC.
The worst thing Joe Rogan said was when he was talking about Cyborg being a male on his podcast. It was something along them lines. Like he said that Cyborg. He said Cyborg has a dick or something like that. Or you wouldn't be surprised if Cyborg had a dick.
We don't make those type of jokes here. We don't make those type of jokes.
He's not wrong, is he? But
well, I mean, listen, but
when you're a professional,
Cyborg got feminine features, man. She ain't hot or anything, but she had feminine features. She ain't
of course, you spot that boxing style. You look at body features all the time.
Yeah, but hold on. We don't make those type of jokes. We don't make those type of jokes on this fucking. We don't make those type of jokes on this podcast. We're respectful to all people of all groups and sexual orientations and religious views. So what Joe Rogan did was disgusting. Disgusting, I tell you.
Yeah, fuck Joe Rogan. Since everybody else is saying in the chat.
No, you know
just
who?
Just put a flag over her head. That shit.
But he gets a bit emotional sometimes.
Sometimes.
I love his.
The guy was fucking crying.
Podcast. I watched that quite a lot. Like he smokes weed on that, like quite a lot. It's quite funny, to be honest.
You see the one with Stephen Crowder when he was just roasting Stephen Crowder because he didn't like weed.
Oh, that was hilarious, man. He was like, "What's the point in you smoking this?" And Rogan was going in on the guy. He went on his show afterwards as well.
Let's talk about the main event. What do you guys think about the main event?
What are you talking about? Which main event?
Joshua Povetkin. He's not about.
We talked about. Listen, no. We talked about that. Well, people talked about.
I didn't get my say on it.
Well, nobody cares about your say on it. What do you?
I didn't get my say.
Let me put up. Listen. We got.
You should be on the show last night.
I was busy, bro. I had like shit to do. I had like stuff I gotta fucking finish.
Goddamn, Gina Carano, man, I gotta tell you, fuck Cyborg. I'd fuck Gina Carano. Listen, boxing style.
He finds Cyborg attractive, no? That's what I
just said he has feminine features. He's not like because some of these motherfuckers are like actual dudes who cut their penis and go in their fucking. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like she has feminine. She ain't like a complete. Like you could see like there's a girl in there. But like some of
there's a girl.
These other fools, like, some chicks.
Imagine. Do you know what? Right, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I don't know, man. Like she hasn't got any kids or anything. It wouldn't surprise me if she actually is a transsexual.
You know who people say is a transsexual? The Serena Williams. I mean the Williams sisters. Yeah, people say there's a conspiracy theory out there that. But there's a conspiracy theory that says that supposedly their father, he had 2 sons. And he wanted them to be big stars, but he knew they would have an advantage as men in the female division. So she actually ended up turning them into fake women, and that's why they're so funny. That's the theory. I don't know if it's.
She just had a kid though, right? Like,
well, how do you know? I mean, did you actually see the kid popping out of his ass, or because if it did, then it's not a woman. I mean.
I was there at the first time, bro.
Of course she was there.
I saw BDA.
She was on. She was on ESPN magazine, right? Like she was on the front of ESPN
BDA,
magazine.
You're savage, man. Proper savage.
I'm a surrogate father, bro.
Yeah, of course you are, Boxer Styles.
All right, serious business. How much?
Jesus Christ. She's not like it.
How much?
BDA,
yeah.
Check Hangouts, BDA.
Check Hangouts.
Check your Hangouts.
Okay.
Serena Williams is on the front of ESPN magazine with a baby bump.
Oh, come on! You can put a pillow in there. What's the matter with you? You actually believe that shit?
That is too fake.
Right, I'm gonna type in Serena Williams.
Oh, please don't.
I think the baby's gonna come out all roided up and shit.
Probably.
It's gonna look like mini Anthony Joshua coming out of there.
Hey Cameron, I wouldn't be talking to Fire. You said you'll tap China. China's just as bad as fucking Cyborg is, to me, honestly. China, the wrestler.
Oh, she died.
Oh, she died. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
she
you
did.
said you would tap her anyhow.
Oh yeah, I would tap her. Yeah. Well, obviously not as she's dead, but I would have tapped her before she was dead.
And by the way, before we continue, we do have Recognize the Matrix on the line.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
All right,
Recognize. I'm surprised you're still alive after the fucking long show we done earlier on my channel. Oh yeah, he's not alive.
No, he's
pretending to be alive.
I hope he's not cooking. I hope he's not cooking naked again, because that was disturbing the last time.
That's what it is.
Or when he calls for the shower.
He's not in the precinct. I hope he's not down at work in the old precinct, like, you know.
Oh, he's on he's at the MotoGP when he was on my podcast earlier.
Well, how long was the podcast? How long was the podcast?
About 3.5 hours, I think it was.
Jeez, Louise.
4 hours.
Oh, we got that beat, bro. 7 hours last time. Me, Matrix, and the fuck it was. I forgot.
I did a
BDA,
thing
obviously.
last night, right? I did a post-fight show on my channel last night, saying that Joshua, didn't look great, and the amount of dislikes I got from the casuals.
He did it, bro. They're fucking idiots. He looked shit. I gave him like 1 round out of that entire fucking time until he knocked his ass out.
Okay,
all right.
4-2 to Povetkin. I did.
Recognize, are you there? Recognize, calling recognize.
The way he,
because Povetkin was just a better boxer. He just does
crouching
not
down
have that
and
power.
stuff, like,
Yeah.
it's just weird.
Lazy jabs.
His level, but it didn't work.
All right, you know what? Fuck that fight. Joshua Povetkin and Canelo Triple G2. Those fights are in the past. The past, I tell you. We're moving forward. We're moving towards the future, towards better fights.
Yes.
That's right, I said better fights. And Bucho put together a nice little package for us. For what I'm excited about. I'm very, very excited about the World Boxing Super Series 140-pound tournament. The 118-pound version, not that bad either. Pretty good, but it's 140 pounds. That's
Who's
where
playing
it's
music in the background? Sorry, man.
The fuck is wrong with this thing, man?
It's recognized.
It's always recognized.
Yo,
He's playing salsa music.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear music in the background. Are you in a bodega or something, man?
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Recognize R&B hits, bro.
Sorry about that.
Is it
Recognize you still got some stuff to talk about. You're not all boxing talked out, no?
I think I got something to talk about. I was on camera for like fucking 3 hours.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I gotta check that out.
That was a good show, though. Good show, though.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Sorry I couldn't come on yesterday, man. I was at the Yankee game.
The Yankee game. Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
man.
You can go.
I'm a baseball fan too.
You got a bunch of fucking Brits over here. You're talking about being a Yankee?
Exactly.
Damn.
Them damn Yankees.
How dare you?
So you were a Mets
Listen.
fan?
Hell no. No way. Even though
I
I
thought you
grew
were-
up in Queens, but I cheered for the team for the Bronx.
No, you said you were a Red Sox fan. He said he was a Red Sox fan.
No, I hate Red Sox fans.
All
You a
right.
Red Sox fan?
I'm a big Red Sox fan because my family,
I hate you.
my ancestry. I have some ancestors that came from landed in Massachusetts, Boston area, and all that. So, yeah.
I don't know how well this is. I don't know how well this is going to go down. But I'm a Brit and I've got a White Sox beanie hat.
Oh, jeez.
Did you say I have a white
that not
supremacy hat?
I've got a White
you-
Sox beanie hat. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said white supremacist hat. Like, white no, okay.
No, trust me. Trust me. X was not.
KKK, baby.
I've got a white beanie. I've also got I've got a Raiders one as well.
The Grand Dragon one? Or?
He's a wizard, bro. He's a wizard.
All right, listen. I wanted to get to the 140-pound tournament that I want to talk about here. So if you can look at your screen, you're going to have... This is the tournament that's set up right now. First bracket, we got Terry Flanagan from the UK taking on Regis Prograis from the United States. Of course, Prograis undefeated. Let me just
It's going to destroy Flanagan.
check the records here. Prograis is 22-0 in 19 knockouts. Flanagan is... I don't have his record, so sorry about that. But, you know, Flanagan just lost against Maurice Hooker, the Dirty Hooker. And it was an entertaining fight against the Dirty Hooker. But it was just, you know, Flanagan, even at home he lost. But it was a very tight fight. But he doesn't possess world-class power or hand speed. So we're gonna see how he does against Progress. Then we have Kirill Relik. I thought he was from. Oh yeah, he's from Belarus. That's Belarus, right, Bucho?
He is Belarusian. He's trained by Ricky
Belarusian,
Hatton,
yeah.
isn't he? Ricky
Right.
Hatton trained.
Fantastic. Oh, and you can see the Ricky Hatton influence in the way he fights and
yeah.
the way he changes angles on the inside against Eduard Troyanovsky, who I think is perhaps the weakest link, the weak link in the tournament, but he's still pretty tough. Don't let the.
I think a lot of people look over Troyanovsky because he got caught clean and cold by Ndongo. I think he's actually a good boxer.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like don't put too much stock. Whenever somebody gets stopped early, don't put too much stock.
That's his only loss, man. That's his only loss.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I mean that's the definition of caught cold, ain't it? I don't think you can really put like too much into something like that at all. It's one of the arguments I why I didn't sort of like really rate Ndongo. I think Ndongo was this great sort of like win for Crawford because like he caught the guy cold and then outboxed there. So like I agree.
Ndongo's a joke.
You look at what
Ndongo wasn't a joke when he fought Terence Crawford, but after that he was a joke.
He's still a joke to me. Before and after.
Prograis made him look like a joke after the fact.
Yeah, he did.
That was the TC after effects.
I'll tell you what though, I do think Kirill Relik will beat Troyanovsky though.
Yeah, same.
I like Relik. I rate Relik.
Yeah, that guy right there. I watched some highlights. I don't follow him much, but he looks like a guy who could win a tournament.
Let's be real. Relik beat Burns. He should have got a decision over Burns.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was on the Boxing Gossip podcast at that time, and everybody, there was 5 of us, and everybody had Relik winning it.
Yeah, I did. I was shocked, man.
I mean, personally, I think Josh Taylor will probably win this tournament. I think Josh Taylor was probably the most sort of like well-rounded, he's got the most tools.
Wasn't Taylor the guy that technically lost the Postal in a way?
Well,
he didn't.
Listen, hold on. We'll get to that. Let's just finish going through the tournament here.
He didn't lose it, but like,
speaking of Josh Taylor, Josh Taylor from the UK taking on Ryan Martin. Again, Martin, young American, tall for his weight. He's a little bit like Maurice Hooker. A lot of people confuse him actually with Maurice Hooker. He might, you never know, he might bring something to the table, but I've seen his past fights. In terms of resume, he does have a weak resume compared to the rest of the guys in this tournament, or most of the guys. And then you have Ivan Baranchik, another Belarusian, taking on Anthony Yigit. Again, speaking of weak resumes, Yigit might have the weakest resume of everybody, him and Ryan Martin. But don't forget, Yigit, he's a southpaw, pretty quick. He doesn't have a lot of knockouts. I think he only has like 7 knockouts out of 12 wins or something like that. Actually, 21 wins, 7 knockouts. So he's not a big puncher. And here's an interesting tidbit. Good amateur background, and he's of Turkish, Finnish, and Russian descent. So he's got a little bit Turkish in him. So boxing style is not going to root for him. But those are the guys here in this division.
I'm not going to root for that piece of shit.
Oh
shit!
My goodness gracious!
Can I just say you one thing? But on what Abstract said about Josh Taylor winning this thing, I think him versus Regis Prograis is going to be a proper, like, one of the best fights to be made in the sport. If it happens, like, them to get to the final, I think that's one of the best fights that can happen in the sport altogether. That's how good I think those two are matching up.
Well, there you have it. Cameron making the prediction right away. Now, you said that it's interesting. You said those two are going to be fighting in the final, which is what a lot of people expect.
No, what I'm saying is if they get to the final, those two, for me, stylistically-wise, matching up, I think that could be one of the best fights in the sport. Like, I just think their styles would gel well. So that's what I think.
Well, this is set up so that...
my bad. Go ahead, BDA.
Just real quick, and then I'll let you go, but this is set up so that Josh Taylor and Prograis end up getting in the final, as you can see here on the screen.
Yeah. And they probably will. I mean, Relik could cause an upset to whatever side he's on. I think it's on Josh Taylor's side, right?
Yeah, Baranchik is on Taylor's
the
side.
other side, isn't he? Isn't he the second fight?
Let me have a look. Relik's on the same side as Prograis. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think
I think he will beat Prograis. I think Relik will win the whole tournament.
I think Prograis is going to win the whole tournament.
You think Relik's going to win the whole tournament?
I think the two best. I mean, he looked sloppy his last fight, but I think he'll fix that shit up. It's between Prograis.
For boxing style, you're cutting up.
You reckon Relic wins the tournament?
Yeah, I think Prograis is a little overrated. I think no one will be able to handle Relic's pressure. I think most of them will either fold or not like win enough rounds against him because he just non-stop. He keeps coming and coming and coming. He doesn't matter.
Did I hear this right? That some people think Josh Taylor shouldn't have got the decision against Postal. Did I hear that right?
Boxing Style said that.
I do.
Boxing Styles, get out of here.
But I'm not complaining, man. I don't give a shit about that fucking weight division that much.
Postal looked good in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
Positivity, Boxing Styles.
Huh? What's up? What you said? Make it nice.
Thanks for your positivity.
I'm not positive. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck.
He just shitted all over that tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Inspiring, isn't he? Like,
I'm not really inspired by that 140 weight division, bro. If they did a light heavyweight weight division,
Tournament?
Yeah, tournament. Yeah. I said tournament. I guess you didn't hear that shit. I wouldn't.
Boxing style.
140.
Boxing style. You're turning into
the final. I'll watch the final.
Why are you not up for 140? It's a good mix.
Do you know what I like about 140? There's not one clear number one guy in that division. Yeah. That's what I like about this tournament.
That's because Terence Crawford's not there.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Stop kissing that fool's ass, bro.
Hey, listen, man, it's true.
Do you know what? If Mikey Garcia was in this tournament, I don't even think he would win this tournament.
No, man.
The other guys are too big for him, man.
I don't even know what weight class he's. I mean, I guess 135 is where he belongs, right?
That's where he should be. That's where he
should be. But he just eats too much. He's a fatty. He's like
I don't think his power's carried up to one. I don't think his power's carried up to 140. I mean, personally, I think Josh Taylor's the best at 140.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on.
I said a couple of years ago that I think
I disagree with that.
Yeah, no, I think it was Dave Ryan fight. It was maybe about 3 years ago. I said I thought he would end up like taking
he's
over.
Going to have a chance to prove it. I don't think Abztract is too far when it comes to the guys in the tournament. I mean, there's not like you can't say like there's one guy there that would definitely beat him. I mean, until it happens.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit too early for
Josh Taylor. My bad, apology. It's the power of Progress that's going to make the difference in all these fights. Progress is going to just dominate because of the power, bro. He has a lot of power. It's skill-wise. Yeah, you could give it to Josh Taylor. You could probably give it to who else was it? Fuck it. Just you give it to Josh Taylor. I'm cool with Josh Taylor. But the thing is, the power is Progress. Progress is just going to dominate with the body shots and all the shit that he does.
All right.
Parts Relic.
Go ahead, BDA.
His power.
BDA, go ahead.
I think Apologies got onto something. I think when he mentioned Relic, because I was rewatching Relic versus Barthélemy, the rematch. Let me tell you something. A lot of people were shitting on Barthélemy. The only thing shitty about Barthélemy is his hair. He looks like he's got Cheetos hanging from his fucking head. That fucking asshole. But he's a pretty good inside fighter. He's like Dorticos. He's a 140-pound version of Dorticos. You know, Cuban fighter, tall for his division, but he fights on the inside. And he had superior firepower than Relic. But, like Eric Roses said in the chat, Relic has a very good chin, and he throws a lot of punches. And those guys tend to be hell, because not only does he have a good chin, he's got the heart, he's got the stamina, and he can just stick to you like glue and make you work all night. And if you're not in shape, he's going to beat you. And then you have Baranchik, who beat up poor Peter Petrov. You know, people are talking about Josh Taylor against Prograis. Let's see first of all, let's see Taylor get past Ryan Martin, and let's see if he can even get past Baranchik, because Baranchik is another strong 140-pounder who can, I mean, this guy's he looked like a monster in his last fight. I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This tournament is very, very good. As for Terry Flanagan,
the guy that gets robbed.
Was that?
I think in this tournament, Relic's the guy that gets robbed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, he got robbed.
He's been robbed a couple of times, and he got robbed against Burn. First, was it Barthélemy fight?
Yeah, I could see him getting robbed as well.
I mean, that guy has no fucking luck. See, with judges, like fucking hell.
Yeah, he's got that.
I thought he was going to take it away from him against Fuck, what was the guy you just mentioned?
Bartholomew.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Bartholomew, he has that haircut. Like, you remember that Dave Chappelle in The Nutty Professor? When he takes his hat off and he's got that haircut there with the, like, they look like turds. They look like dog turds sticking out of his skull. That's what he has, except he paints them yellow to try to make people forget that he's got turds sticking out of his skull. But again, Relic, like I said, very, very tough. So I'm not surprised that somebody like Apology, who's a little bit crazy, would pick him as a dark horse. I think the biggest dark horse in this tournament is Baranchik. But I gotta ask you guys, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer this tournament or do you prefer the 118-pound one?
118?
Say 140.
Yeah, I prefer this
140.
one, to be honest.
I think 118's
Dude, I don't even watch the 118s, bro. I don't even watch the 118s. 140 it is.
Well, there you go.
But wait a minute. I think 118 is clear who's going to be in the finals. And 140 is more interesting because we don't know what's going to happen.
Who's going to be in the final? Apology in the 118.
Anyway and Fee. What's the black guy? What's his name?
Tete. Tete. Zolani Tete. Tete.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm trying to get through here. But all right, so most people agree that 140-pound tournament. By the way, I gotta ask, boxing style, you said you don't watch 118-pound, you don't watch 140 pounds. What the fuck do you watch?
I do watch the 140, but if it gets to the final and if it's like at least upcoming fights, I'll watch them. But 118, I don't watch at all. I just said I don't really watch 140, but I do watch it. Sound like I do.
All right. Just wanted to clarify that. So, okay, we got that tournament. And by the way, like I said before at the beginning of this goddamn show, already this tournament looks like a nice piece of like a nice juicy steak. And that's without even mentioning Ramirez.
Say piece of ass.
Well, if an ass is juicy, you better get that ass in the shower. Because, yeah, exactly. But Jose Ramirez, he's not even at the tournament, guys. And he could prove to be man. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what. And then you got Victor Postal, who's still in there, who gave Taylor a very good fight. And you have Lipinets, who I think is a very, very tough cookie for anybody. So this 140-pound division, I'm willing to say, is in the top 5 divisions in boxing right now. Because again, think about it. What division is better? 126? Nothing's happening in 126. You have great fighters. They're not fighting each other.
What's better? You say middleweight division is better.
All right, let's go see the middleweights.
It's not lit, but it's better.
What the hell is Apology doing?
Cruiserweight is dead right now because of that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, because the tournament just finished. And
heavyweight's kind of lit. Heavyweight's becoming more interesting.
Light heavyweight could be the best one. Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You've got Vosdik. You've got what's his name?
Bivol. You still got Adonis. You got Badu Jack. You got
Alvarez now.
Alvarez.
I didn't really rate Alvarez that highly before.
Turbiev, if he fucking ever comes back, you know.
Super middleweight been dead for a long ass time.
Yeah. That one.
Been dead for
a super middleweight. There's still like,
except for that Eubanks Groves fight.
There's a couple of guys. That's like Groves. Groves fighting Callum Smith, who I don't really think much of, but there's
David Benavidez. Who I really like. I like Benavidez.
Fuck, who's what the hell is
Uzcategui.
again?
Uzcategui guy, the one that beat
whatever the fuck.
It's Uzcategui. It's not Uzcategui.
Yeah. I gotta see his name in front of me and fucking pronounce it.
Disrespectful.
Sorry. I like him. I'm not saying he's the best, but I like him the most at that weight class.
Who's he fighting, by the way? He's fighting, or he was supposed to fight a tough guy next. Hold on.
I'll tell you right now. Who's he fighting next?
Let's see who gets it first. Hold on.
Let's see who gets it. Fuck, come on. Let's go.
I like how he fights, man. He fights like when you look at how he stands and shit.
Right.
It's like a weird stance that he has where both of his hands are even like fist wise, you know?
You're kidding me.
And it's all weird and shit. It's like then he times it perfect. Like his timing is exceptional.
He's got a very good style to watch, man. And here's the thing: this guy Uzcategui, when he lost to Korobov about what was it, 4 years ago, he really looked like you could tell he was good, but he was just missing that extra step. You know, he didn't have the experience that Korobov had. Now you look at him 4 years later, he's making the role quit. He was getting close to making him quit in the first fight before that fucking ref stopped the fight because of low blows, and then Dirrell's uncle, which, by the way, did you guys hear that Dirrell's uncle is going to be back? He's been reinstated by the commissions.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, what do you mean, whatever? First of all, they said the excuse that they gave after he hit Uzcategui was that he had Alzheimer's. So they were like trying to excuse him.
Really?
Or something like, yeah.
They'll come up with the retarded syndrome.
Exactly.
Hey, man, retards get away with everything.
But they always, I was under a lot of stress, you know. I was having problems with my wife and this and that, and you know, I lost
hand jobs.
He completed his
What? Hand jobs? All right.
Hand jobs.
I wasn't getting blown, you know.
Yeah. No, hand jobs because the wife doesn't blow him, obviously.
Oh yeah. Unless she's a pig, but yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, pigs tend to give some good hand jobs because they have to make up for the lack of
David Cameron.
What's David Cameron? Is that like a magician?
No, David Cameron.
No, that's the former prime minister.
That's right.
Hey, real quick, I wasn't on the show yesterday, but I was impressed with Anthony Joshua. Just gotta say that.
Nah,
no,
really,
listen,
bro.
no,
Come on,
no,
man. Come on.
I'm telling you, I
wasn't impressed, bro. I thought listen. Initially, before he fought Klitschko, I thought even after he fought Klitschko, I thought this was the result, but not like this. I thought he would kind of dominate with the jab and then finish him off with that left hook. He will surprise him with the left hook. But after his little psychological problem that he had, when he fought Klitschko and he got hit with that, what was it, a left hook or right hook? I can't remember. And he dropped him. He's been not the same since the Calm and Parker too. And Parker, honestly, I gotta say, Parker hits harder than Povetkin does. I noticed it.
Last thoughts.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he does, man. He hits harder than Povetkin. Trust me.
Last thoughts on this fucking fight.
I'll finish this video and I'll let you talk.
Have you gotten hit by them?
Huh? I've never been hit by them. I'm not kidding. That's not gonna tell me anything, bro. I'll probably get lights out after either one of those two guys. It doesn't matter. Just like Anthony Joshua getting hit by both guys, it let me know that which one hits the harder. And
was that Cameron?
He's a lot more.
Povetkin came to knock him out, bro.
Yeah, I like that kind of shit.
A lot of people don't. I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but some of the criticisms that I hear is like, look, fucking Povetkin came in to knock him out. He knew he was going to win on the scorecards.
Exactly.
Right? So he gave his best effort. So he hit him. It's boxing. He's a very established, great fighter, not only as an amateur, as a pro.
This is what I got off of the fight though, Mitch. This is what I got. Because initially I was saying like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Because he's fucked up with the mind. I think he's probably going to go 12 rounds with this guy, jab his ass out. Hit him a few times here and there. Povetkin survives for 12 rounds. He beats him clear off the bat, maybe not even to help with referees. And then what happened was he finished him, and I'm like, okay, maybe because he was taking a lot of shots, a lot of bombs. And then I started thinking, he might be coming back from that psychological hill that he was in after he fought Klitschko. So this time around, maybe if he fights Wilder, this is more of a 50-50 fight now. You know what I mean?
All right, so we got boxing style being chewed up by. We can hear voices in the background.
Where are you going? What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah. By the way, listen, this whole fucking Josh. All right, recognize. You want to say something about the last thing about the Joshua Povetkin fight, because we really need to move on from this two mega fights that everybody. That's all we did last episodes. Just talk about Golovkin, Canelo, fucking Joshua Povetkin. I'm sick of it.
You know what? I don't mind seeing Golovkin, Canelo third one.
You know what?
All right, that's it.
I wouldn't mind seeing you.
I do want to see a third one. When are you going to see a fight like this again? Tell me.
Knock off.
Between two between two heavy hitters.
Two heavy hitters
that go 12 rounds straight.
What?
That go 12 rounds. Yeah, 12 rounds straight, and they bleed their ass out in the fight, bro. You're not gonna see
Shut up
anything
for a
like
minute.
this because he's gonna fucking retire. Maybe after a few fights after this, you have to see him. You have to see it. Come on, bro. The third one has to come.
Recognize, please.
It sounds boring as hell, but go ahead.
Yeah, the fucking big punchers. Who cares? Listen, I want to hear what Recognize has to say. I want to hear what Recognize has to say about the Joshua Povetkin fight, and then we do have to change subjects a little bit.
What I was impressed with was that, look, the guy came in to knock him out. I think that Anthony Joshua, like most tall fighters, they have problems with guys that are shorter than them, because it's just punching angles and all that stuff. He's probably getting better with time, and I think you can see that. It was a perfect situation with Povetkin. Povetkin came in to knock him out, hurt him a few times. I thought was even winning the fight, and Joshua was waiting for his opportunity and knocked him out.
Very well said. Because that's what I said in the beginning of the show, how I don't know what it is about boxing fans Recognize, but you're only as good as your last fight. And since Joshua didn't look spectacular in his last two, people were saying that he was on the downslide, he sucked, he was overrated, Wilder was gonna mop the floor with him. Now all of a sudden he knocks out Povetkin and he's back in people's good graces. That's the way it works. And like you said,
the way it works.
He needed that because the stock was dropping. That, in my opinion, it was because everyone was hating on him. And I think Wilder needs the same thing. If he knocks out Fury, then this fight's gonna be big.
Hey,
but one more thing though, I gotta add this shit about
One
Ortiz and Povetkin comparison, right? Ortiz is the more durable fighter between Povetkin and him. I think Ortiz has the better chin between the two. And power wise, I can't say because you can't tell much of anything with power because I really haven't looked into it that deeply. But the chin wise, I say yes.
Ortiz's chin's never been tested before, right? He's never fought a puncher.
Exactly.
Dude, he's been tested, bro. He got dropped by Wilder in the 5th round. He could have got finished, and he got back up, and he still wild his way all the way to the 9th or 10th round, and then he got his ass knocked the fuck out.
But then Povetkin went 12 with Klitschko, and he's a big puncher.
Oh.
Yeah, but Povetkin is not. He's not. No, my bad. Klitschko is not in it to kill it type of individual. AJ and Wilder, most guys out, not everybody out. AJ and Wilder are in it to kill it, guys.
Well, listen, we're gonna cover those aspects as.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, man. I'm having problems with my. I'm talking to you through my tablet.
Oh.
So, and I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, what the fuck? Man. Don't talk to a tablet.
Hold on, BDA. BDA wants to say something. BDA, go ahead.
Go ahead, BDA.
Well, first of all, just a fucking tablet. I don't know what why would you talk to a tablet? You need to talk to a proper phone because tablets, I don't know, they tend to. It's kind of hard to fucking hold a big ass tablet.
You know what it is? That was all spent on talking to Cameron on his 3-hour podcast.
So it's Cameron's fault. I knew it was Cameron's fault.
Guy 500, it works all the time.
Of course, it's my fault. Of course, it is recognized.
Well, it's because you're a casual. You're a casual.
No, going back to the fight, man. I thought that it's another good win for a young guy who's they're trying to make a star, who is a star, right? And especially in this country. And it was a good. Let's face it. He was there to win that fight. He's the A side, right? But when Povetkin came in, and I had a feeling he was going to do this, he's going to go for the kill, and Anthony Joshua was able to counter that and stop him. Again, I did think he was losing the fight. It was either 3-3, 4-2, and even if it was 3-3, slight edge Povetkin. Slight edge to Povetkin. I still thought that I saw some good stuff from Anthony Joshua. And I'm telling you, he's a boxer.
Recognize.
Wilder's best shot is to knock him out. If he doesn't knock him out, he gets outboxed, he gets knocked out. That's the way I see it.
Recognize, I have a question for you. This is something I asked everybody yesterday. Based on this fight, I'm talking about Joshua against Povetkin. Do you change your prediction for Wilder against Joshua if they ever fight?
No, not at all, because it's totally different. It's totally different styles. I don't think Wilder's going to go at him like that. Not right away, at least. He won't go at him like that. He'll try to take his time, wait for his opportunity to just start swinging those windmills, and one lands, and hopefully it hurts him, right? But no, it doesn't change my. I've always said it, and I think you have too, Bucho, that I think that when it comes time to fighting, when it comes time for them to get in the ring, I think Anthony Joshua is going to be the one that exposes him and beats him. Yes, he'll have his moments. He'll probably rock AJ a couple of times, but if you don't get him out of there, the longer the fight goes, that to me that favors the boxer over the street fighter.
Bro, let's see if he passes Fury first. If he passes Fury, we'll be talking about that.
That's right. Let's see if he can even make it past Fury first, because that fight, even a fat Fury who's been a bit inactive in the past couple of years, he can still...
Better boxer. Just a much better boxer, right? Isn't that why we give Fury a chance? Wilder's not a classical boxer. He's just not.
Now listen, I wanted to ask you guys, because one of you actually was recognized, I think, that mentioned the light heavyweight division. You mentioned, listen, Alexander Gvozdyk, and I asked this question a couple of episodes ago, way before Bivol fought, or beat actually Sullivan Barrera. I had asked who was better, Bivol or Gvozdyk, and a lot of you were saying Bivol. And then after he beat Barrera, of course, the obvious answer was Bivol. Now Gvozdyk is going to be taking on Stevenson, Adonis Stevenson. And by the way, who knows if that fight really gets made, because, you know, with the PBC, they don't even get to the venue until 2 weeks before the fight. So who knows if that fight's actually going to happen. But Badu Jack came out recently and said that he thinks Gvozdyk doesn't have the resume necessary to beat a guy like Stevenson. Do you guys agree with that? Do you disagree? Do you think Gvozdyk has done himself a good service talking to some of the, beating some of these guys? I mean, come on, he's got Chilemba on his record. He's got Unieski Gonzalez. What do you guys think?
What was the question again, BDA?
Did I break up or? Oh yeah, well. Do you think Gvozdyk deserves
breaking up on my side, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, do you think Gvozdyk he's good enough to beat Stevenson?
Yeah. I definitely think he's good enough. I don't know if he will, but I think he's good enough to beat him.
Anybody else?
I think any top light heavyweight has a chance of beating Stevenson.
Maybe.
All right. Now the reason why I asked
power. I don't know.
Exactly.
Right. Stevenson can always end it pretty fast, but remember he is getting older. And I know they say strength is the last thing to leave, but you know when you start hitting 40s, that's what they're talking about. The strength start leaving at 40. In your 40s, is when it generally starts to dip a little bit. The power, that is. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's always dangerous in those first 6 rounds. We saw it against Badu Jack. I thought he was beating Jack in the first half of the fight. And then you saw him once Jack, survived the first 6 rounds. The second half of the fight became a total different fight. Now, I have my questions when it comes to Gvozdyk. Can he take those shots early on and not get totally blown out, or if let's say he survives it, he's just mentally fucked up, because we haven't seen him in big fights. Those names that the Chilembas and what was the other guy's name that he knocked
Gonzalez.
out? Fuck, what was his name?
Unieski Gonzalez, I think.
Unieski, Gonzalez. Him. I'm losing my fucking mind. I can't remember nobody's names anymore. Anyway,
it's Cameron's fault.
Yeah, it is Cameron's fault. But so Stevenson is a different fighter than those guys. So he's gonna come in there trying to knock you out. He's gonna try to set it up with body shots. He's gonna try to make you drop your guards down. If he clips him upstairs, there's a good chance Gvozdyk goes down and won't get back up. But if he survives those first 6 rounds, I think it's, at least for me, it's not out of the question that he outboxes and even drops Stevenson in the second half of the fight.
He's definitely very skilled, that's for sure. And like you're saying, that Stevenson power, that's really the big factor in there. Because not everybody can take it, man. Everybody he fights ends up getting stopped or dropped. The only guy he couldn't really drop was what was the name of that light heavyweight from a couple of years ago? Who Tavoris Cloud. I don't think he dropped him, but he did stop him. Like he made him quit in between rounds. But man, I gotta tell you, this fucking power. But Gvozdyk does have the skills, man. I mean, he outboxed Chilemba, and I think he actually looked better against Chilemba than Bivol did. I mean, I know we're not gonna get into boxing math or anything, but that's the way I see it. So, but like I said, who knows if that fight even happens?
If it goes 12 rounds, he'll do a better job than Badou Jack, that's for sure.
Well, that remains to be seen. Because then again, people forget Jack.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, the Shepherd of Sun says Jack. He didn't drop Jack. That's true, but he did hurt him with that fucking straight left hand to the body. I gotta tell you,
Does
this
it really matter if he drops him? If he comes back up, it don't matter.
Right.
And he
Right. That's a good point.
Away from what's his name, Stevenson.
Right.
Then it's over.
And by the way, Overhand in the chat room says Gvozdyk is being trained by Teddy Atlas. Is that true? Is that confirmed?
Yeah, that's true. That's happened.
He was with I think Robert Garcia used to train him.
Giannis might win.
Yeah. Teddy Atlas.
Firemen. Your family don't like you. Shut up.
Hey, wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. When's the last time Alexander fought, though?
Good question. It was.
Gvozdyk?
No, we're talking about Gvozdyk.
Yeah.
Gvozdyk, yeah. When was the last time?
It was in March against. It was in March against Mehdi Amar for the interim WBO blah 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 council. But yeah, that was back in March, and he won a decision. He didn't look all that hot in there.
Why he didn't fight Badou Jack in a rematch? Not that it was a must. It must happen, but you know. Why?
Because he's going to get beat most likely. That's why.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
No, listen, I don't agree. Because the
Badou Jack had so much confidence in
hold on.
Cameron in that last round, man. Go ahead,
yeah, but Cameron was going to answer the question. I think he knows why that rematch never happened.
Go ahead, Cameron.
Yeah, come on, you got to let the casual talk at some point. I think it's down to the fact that the Badou Jack fight rematch would have been a bigger fight than Gvozdyk. So I think I don't agree. I think the WBC have given Stevenson so many voluntaries that at some point one of these mandatories were going to take it, and Elijah Alvarez is pissing around, and obviously Gvozdyk chose to take the fight. So the WBC decided they weren't going to let him have any more voluntaries, and that was it.
That's okay, though. There you go. But recognize,
guys. Go ahead.
Sorry, I hear somebody in the background. By the way, I think this is a good chance to introduce Guerrero de la Info, who's I hear somebody's echo. Guerrero, are you there?
It's Cameron.
It's not me, man. It's never me.
All right, Guerrero, are you there?
But you can't say never, man. Come on.
Guerrero, are you there?
Sure,
Guerrero, are you there?
His mic's not working or something.
Yeah, I think his mic's not working. But all right, so recognize you were going to say something about Gvozdyk. Badou Jack, you were saying he was confident.
Yeah, the Badou Jack fight. I thought the way it ended, that I was for sure there was going to be a rematch. That would have been the fight that I'm more interested in. Don't get me wrong. I still want to see Gvozdyk and Stevenson, but I thought I don't know. I thought the way the fight ended, there should have been a rematch between the two.
Well, you got to remember, this is the PBC, and Stevenson seems to be on the Al Haymon premium list. In other words, he gets to fight whenever he wants. He gets to fight the guys he wants. He gets a lot of breaks over at the PBC, so I'm not surprised that they let that Badou Jack rematch go. And by the way, the reason why I say that I don't know if this fight between Gvozdyk and Stevenson is actually going to take place is because Gvozdyk is with Top Rank, and Top Rank and the PBC don't get along, and there were actually some shenanigans involved in the purse bid for the Stevenson versus Gvozdyk fight. I forget exactly how it went down, but essentially some promoter bid more money to win that bid, obviously, and then when Top Rank dropped out, they dropped out so that Yvonne Michel, Stevenson's promoter, something like that happened. Something weird. I'm paraphrasing here what happened, but there were some very bizarre things going on, and so that's why I'm not sure if that fight's gonna happen.
So I didn't hear the same thing like through a media out. Well, it was on YouTube. One of these uploaders was talking about that, and yeah, I mean, look, if he fights Vosdick, I'm fine. If he fights, I would have preferred that he fought Bottle Jack in a rematch. Although it would have probably ended in a draw again.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
we spoke about this on my podcast about Bottle Jack and how. You know, he always does enough. I can't remember who said it, but somebody was like, he always does enough not to just win or to lose or something like that. I'd rather see the Gvozdyk fight, personally. I thought Badu Jack, he was given it, you know, Stevenson didn't have to fight him. You know, it was a voluntary defense. He gave Jack the chance. Jack didn't take it at both hands, so we move on.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what, though. In this fight, you're going to see a hell of a lot less low blows. Except for at least from one side. From one side.
I get what you're saying.
Stevenson's going to be throwing them low blows all day. I mean, that's what they were doing, bro. Like, they're like the fucking 7th round all the way. Actually, yeah, 7th round all the way to the 12th round. They were throwing low blows on a consistent. Yes, he was, bro. It was back and forth, bro. I hit you in the low blow. I hit you in the low blow.
Yeah,
whoever's nuts can last longest, bro.
Badu Jack started that whole thing off, man. When did you ever see Adonis?
I'm not saying who started. I can't remember who started it, but it's a low blow fiasco. That fight was a low blow fiasco, bro. I don't think you're gonna see that from Groznik, though. It's gonna be, even if he might get KO'd by getting hit in the low blows, bro.
Yeah, boxing styles. I noticed with these American fighters, they just love to low blow because they can't win clean. They always have to get an advantage, whether it's PEDs or the ref or low blows. That's why I like the European fighters, because they fight clean.
Yeah, but Stevenson's Canadian and Badu Jack's from Sweden. So.
Canadian Canada counts as well.
And wait a minute.
No,
no.
And Canada.
You need to go to a better school.
The British do it too, man. I seen Tony Bellew do it too, but not as often. Not as often, though. Not as often.
It's the West. It's the thing about the West. It's like,
all right, guys,
don't fight clean.
Couple of things.
Overhand. Joshua, I like him, man. He was getting away with a few calls in that fucking fight against Povetkin.
A couple of things. Nino got overhand in the chat room says, BDA Boxing, the fight is already set for December 1st. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, you don't know that for sure. That with Badu Jack versus Stevenson was set, I think, a month before, or no, even more than that, and they still hadn't had a venue set. They had to change it 2 weeks prior to the fight after they had initially set their eyes on another one. So I tell you, this PBC, I don't know how they do things, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
You said December 1st?
Was that?
Did you say December 1st, Vosdick, Stevenson?
No, Wilder Fury.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say.
I think it's the same day. I think it's the same day.
Is it really the same day, is it?
Well, let me check.
Card?
No, different card.
No.
That Stevenson.
Quick question, though. When Fury fought Klitschko, what'd you guys pick to win the fight?
Come on, why are you changing subjects? We're talking about. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're talking about fucking Badu Jack and all that. And then all of a sudden you come out with a curveball.
I'm just curious about this because I keep forgetting.
Fuck that fight. Fuck that fight.
I picked.
No, don't answer that. Yeah. Recognize. Don't answer that, man. Don't give up. Steven Schneider. Shout out to Steven Schneider. He says. Hold on. Steven Schneider says Bellew is the pound for pound.
Steven Schneider donates every show. Fair play to him.
Fair play to him, yeah.
Apology, come on, man.
I'll never listen to that song again.
No, nobody wants to listen to Apology singing it. Listen, Steven Schneider, shout out to Steven Schneider says Bellew is a pound for pound.
So hold on. Let BDA talk. Okay, go ahead, BDA.
Yeah, people, fucking Mike, man. Anyway, Bellew is a pound for pound best ever, says Steven Schneider. All right, that's number one. Number two, Cameron made a great point about Badu Jack always doing the bare minimum in the judges' eyes, at least, to get draws and all that. And he's the king of the draws, man. He's got like 4 draws on his record. And overhand in the chat room says Bad Draw Jack. That's gonna be his new name from now on, Bad Draw Jack. Also, a couple of other things. We have Guerrero de la Info, I think he said he fixed his mic. Guerrero, are you there? Guerrero, are you there? Going once.
No, he's not, man. I got too precise, man.
Yeah, and we got precise on the line.
Dependent upon how you interpret the data.
What's up with all the transvestites in Hollywood, though?
Because if you're a postmodernist and you don't have any standards, you're always going to keep moving the goalpost, and you're never going to stick to your own standards because you don't have any standards.
That's right. All right, precise.
Hello, everybody.
Good to have you on board, man. Please don't tell me you're gonna bring up Joshua Povetkin.
Oh,
do it!
No,
do it!
No, quiet. Boxing, please. How you doing, bro?
Precise wants to talk about Canelo GGG, actually.
Exactly.
Please no. Please no.
Clairvoyant. No. I wanted to bring a little bit of balance. Not that I disagree with you guys. To Gvozdyk Stevenson, or maybe the other way around. Yes, those are all legitimate criticisms of Gvozdyk. He's looked hot and cold. Sometimes he looks amazing, sometimes not so much. However, and yes, he's been knocked out and he's knocked down, and he's going up against a big puncher, no doubt about it. Still, only one of these two guys has been knocked out before, and since then refused to fight punchers. And then even when he got in the ring with Fonfara, was it, in the first fight, got dropped too. So, yeah, those criticisms of Gvozdyk are legit, but let's not act like Stevenson has shown an iron chin either. And let's not act like he's actually fought anybody worth mentioning, because ever since he got knocked out, he's fought guys that were compromised or just straight up bum central. I mean, you know what I mean? Who has he actually beaten? And then he gets in the ring with the guy coming up in weight, not really tested at the weight, and arguably loses at home. And I don't know if I remember correctly, but didn't Badu Jack rock him a little bit? Badu Jack not really being a puncher?
Especially in that 12th round, he had that man in some serious trouble. But,
Gvozdyk is a puncher, man. I mean,
the greatest.
Yeah. So, we've criticized Stevenson so much for being smoke and mirrors. Like, we give him credit, and he's good. And yes, he punches hard. But let's not act like he hasn't avoided the entire division, and now he's fighting another young guy after a really tough fight. And Gvozdyk, when he's looked so-so, it was against like guys that he was just assumed to look amazing against. And then when he got in the ring with actually credible opposition, he's looked, I think, except maybe for the beginning of the Chilemba fight. I don't know if I remember correctly. Maybe he got rocked a little bit. But when he really had to step it up against guys that were experienced, if nothing else, he's looked spectacular. He's had his hiccups against guys that he probably didn't really get up for.
I listen. You made some very good points. Gvozdyk is certainly quality. I thought he beat Chilemba up a little bit, and I also agree that it's no coincidence. I said this after the Stevenson versus Badu Jack fight. It's not coincidence that the first fight, the hardest fight of Stevenson's last 5 years of his career was against Badu Jack, and all of a sudden he looked like shit in there. It's not a coincidence. But he does have that X factor, that fucking punch, whether he hits you to the body, shoulder, the head, the back of your hair, whatever. This guy fucking hurts you, man. So that's if Gvozdyk can take the punch, that's gonna let us know a lot about how the fight's gonna go. If he starts getting rocked from the first round on, it's hard.
See
man.
what Badu Jack did in that fight, especially in the first half of the fight. He saw those punches coming. He braced himself well, and you see that he took it good. I think he took the punch overall good. Yes, Adonis Stevenson has tremendous power, but I also think that a lot of that comes from catching guys off guard. And there might be a decrease in his power because he is 40 or 41. And around that time is when, when they say the power is the last thing to go, that's around the age, usually around the age where the power starts to go just a little bit. Depending on of course, everybody's a different individual, so it could be different for case by case. But Gvozdyk could do that. I think for me, going into this fight is going to be the first 6 rounds. If he gets out of there pretty much unscathed, meaning he gets hit but he takes it well, doesn't fuck up his mentality, he beats him if it goes the distance. I think he could even drop him, stop him as well, because he's just an overall better boxer than Stevenson is.
Look at the style of fighter that Stevenson's been facing. These guys, for the most part, stand in front of him, right in front of him. Fonfara in the first fight moved pretty well, and it was a really, like, he was winning big, but later on in the fight, it became a really difficult. The left hand. What's Stevenson going to do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now listen, and going back to what Recognize said, I thought Badu Jack fought he had a very good understanding of Stevenson's flow, because Stevenson usually drops you in the first 4 rounds. Then if he starts getting pressed, like against Fonfara in the first fight, he starts slowing down. But then the problem is he gets his second wind. And Badu Jack seemed to know that he had to take it easy in the first couple of rounds in order to avoid Stevenson's big power. And then he started gradually to step up the pace. But he started getting a little bit overconfident too, because there was one round after he hurt Stevenson, he tried to stare Stevenson down at the end of the round. And then that's when I knew, oh fuck, he's getting overconfident. And then the very next round, boom, he gets hurt to the body. So
to the body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is, against Stevenson, you know, even Badu Jack, he knew what to expect, and he still couldn't do anything about it in the later rounds. He gets that second win, Stevenson, and he can still hurt you in the later rounds. So Gvozdyk is going to have to make him work. But he can't do it in a way that he gets caught. He can't be reckless about it, because otherwise this fucking guy takes, shuts your lights off.
And takes a big shot. I think this is his fight, because boxing, in terms of what both guys are capable of doing skill-wise, and like Precise said, that yes, Stevenson usually looks like he does good with guys who stand in front of him, or he has less of a harder time with a guy who's going to be moving and presenting problems for you to hit him. As those rounds get later, we saw it. Stevenson has stamina issues. He does have stamina issues, and it's perfectly fine when you're 40. That makes sense. It does make sense. He's got to hurt Gvozdyk and keep him hurt in order to win the fight. And I think the best time for Stevenson to do that, it's going to be the first 6 rounds. That's how I'm looking at this fight so far going in.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you would pick Gvozdyk going in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gvozdyk because and again, it has nothing to do with the experience, obviously, because if you go with experience, you're gonna have to go with Stevenson. But Stevenson, to me, looks like stamina starting to play an issue, and I think his power is dipping just a bit.
All right, now, so most of you guys, I think most of you are picking Gvozdyk or favoring him over Stevenson going into the fight. Am I correct in saying that, or like Cameron, Boxing Style, and Apology Man? Do you guys agree with that, or?
I agree.
All right, so here's my question then, a follow-up question. Is Bivol that much better than Gvozdyk?
I think he's pretty goddamn good.
I don't know.
Like, dominate the whole division for a long time. If everything goes according to plan, he has like no injuries or he does get KO'd.
How old is Bivol anyhow? He's young as fuck. He's still got a lot to go.
Yeah, 27.
Bivol's going to dominate that weight division eventually.
Yeah, he will.
Well, I think Gvozdyk is... Go ahead, bro.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Gvozdyk has more potential. He looks more skilled, but Bivol looks tougher to me, man. I mean, when Barrera cracked him with that left hook, he didn't even flinch. And Barrera has power on the left hook.
Yeah,
that's true.
The problem with Gvozdyk is, I don't know, man. I don't think he's mentally there yet. Like, he's not like elite. When you're elite, you have to have physical and mental ability to like perform, and I don't think Gvozdyk has that yet. So I don't see him getting it in the future. So I think Bivol's the man to dominate.
But when has Bivol shown that as much? You know what I mean? Because I think both guys have been pretty even in terms of the performances, right? Apology.
Yeah,
I
for
mean, like,
me,
Bivol's,
looks better.
I think Bivol's domination of Sullivan Barrera, who at that point going into that fight has shown to be a gritty fighter and a guy that's pretty hard to dominate at that point.
I agree. Recognize. I agree.
Of course, we could look at it now and be like, well, look what Bivol did to him. So maybe there's a blueprint. But at the time, going into that fight, nobody had really done that to him. He fought Andre Ward. And to me, that was a very close fight. I know HBO had it fucking 12 rounds to 0, whatever the scorecard was. But to me, the fight was a lot closer than that. And facial damage does matter. I'm sorry to say, it does matter. It tells you a story. It tells, like Max Kellerman likes to say, Canelo won the story of the fight. And I think he's a little bit right in a certain way. Damage to the face does tell a bit of a story of the fight. And so going up to that, I think the reason why Bivol is so looked at as like, God damn, was that performance, how he dominated from round 1 all the way to when he knocked him out. I think it was the 11th or the 12th round. And so that was just a spectacular performance. Nobody seen Barrera dominated like that before.
Yeah, and also he tends to be flashier as well than Gvozdyk. So I think that's why most people.
His offense is his offensive game is through the roof.
Right. Now also I have to announce, I think finally Guerrero got his mic working. Guerrero, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, guys?
All right, good to have you on board.
What's up, Guerrero?
Doing good. Yeah, I agree.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Damn it.
Hey guys, I'm gonna be out. I'll see you guys later.
Where are you going?
I gotta go, man. I'm gonna chill with my friends.
You got friends?
I got something special, something down the line.
Cameron asked
friends for people.
No, man, I'm a loner, bro. I stay someplace and that's all I do.
Stay out of
I was gonna
people's
say,
houses.
man, you got no friends, man.
Huh?
Stay out of people's houses. Boxing.
All right, hold on a second. All right, so
Hannes is coming over to watch Triple Ginello.
Wait, I'm sorry, man. We over here like jumping over Guerrero, man. Go ahead, Guerrero, talk.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.
all right, see ya.
No, well, I agree with what you guys were saying. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think is next for Bivol, though?
Well, he's fighting.
Who's he fighting, Bivol?
Who's he fighting next? Or has he not got a fight lined up?
Let me check it out. I'm going into the what we call the
today,
internet.
Man. I don't even know who.
I want to see Bivol against Alvarez in the unification. That's what I want.
That would be nice, man. Instead of, well, look, if they're gonna fight a rematch, good. It is what it is. Alvarez and Kovalev, but I would have liked to see Bivol.
I can't get interested in that. Like, the idea of a rematch between them two, I don't like it. Like,
I'm interested. I want to see if Kovalev can.
I am too.
He's changed trainers again. He's changed trainers again now.
Who's
What a fucking asshole.
Are you talking? Yeah, Kovalev is starting to be very indecisive, man. He might do worse this time.
I still think he can beat him in the rematch. I think Kovalev on his day is better than the other guy. What's his name?
Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Better than Alvarez. However, I think he's mentally short, and if he can't get past that, he's done. He should retire off if he loses again.
If he loses a rematch, he is done.
Yeah, he should retire.
Yeah.
Kovalev.
Oh, by the way, it's official. Anthony Joshua got his nose broken in that fight against Povetkin.
Yeah, it did look pretty bashed up after.
No, it's like official. I'm reading it right now on Business Insider, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Joshua's broken nose confirmed to Alexander Povetkin.
All right,
I'm hard that fight, man.
I don't want to go back. Recognize? Are you purposely trying to sabotage the show with fucking Joshua Povetkin?
We always talk about.
Yeah. Hey, I'm reading hold on, sorry. I'm reading an official press release. Apparently, Povetkin. No, actually, Joshua. His ass was shaved by his underwear. That is official. We can officially say that. Shut up, you guys with Povetkin Joshua. But hold on. I wanted to ask you guys something. Really? Oh yeah, because Recognize said that Kovalev is starting to look very indecisive. Isn't that a bad sign, by the way, guys? Every time something happens
Yeah.
to a guy's career and he
He can't
keeps
take the
switching.
blame. Yeah, he can't take the blame himself. He's going to put on everybody else. It was John David Jackson's fault. It was...
De La Hoya started doing something like that, but even more, like more to the extreme. I mean, De La Hoya had like fucking 8 different trainers, you know?
Right.
And he had those 8 different trainers like in the span of 2 or 3 years.
And he would get his brother.
I think it's a sign of mental weakness when a fighter does that all the time, like non-stop. He doesn't look good in the fight, changes trainer. If he doesn't look good on that trainer, he changes trainer again.
Well, Amir Khan's another one. Amir Khan is another guy that does that. Every time he loses, he changes trainers. Like it's a trainer's fault that he doesn't have a chin. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way,
he's very frustrated with himself and the politics that are involved in boxing. No, I don't blame him. You're right, but he seems like Triple G, right? Golovkin. Golovkin seems like he can handle that well. We'll see. We'll find out, right? But it seems like Kovalev, there's so much anger in the dude that sometimes it doesn't manifest into the ring, and he gets frustrated, and it fucks with him psychologically. I think Apology said it. He doesn't think he's mentally there anymore. I think he's still a mean motherfucker, but it's like he's feeling sorry for himself at the same time. And that's not when you start feeling sorry for yourself in the ring, you know, you start looking for excuses,
right?
And maybe you don't fight as hard. You know, you're not fighting as hard, and that could be what's going on with Kovalev.
I think Kovalev's just lost. I think that kind of Ward, not getting a decision in the first Ward fight. I just mentally that took a lot out of Kovalev. I feel like he lost a lot of love for the sport. A lot of commitment and kind of just interest as a whole. And I feel like the Ward rematch really just killed it off. I really do think that. I meant physically he's still there, but like Apology said, mentally, if he can't get past the sort of the mental side of it, he's not going to get anywhere, man. It's just going to be a downward slide for real life. If he loses to Alvarez, that would be 3 losses in 5 fights. So we're talking about a guy
you would think, okay, if he loses a second fight to Alvarez, this would be the second guy he's lost 2 fights to.
Exactly, he would have lost 4 of his last 6 fights.
Right, so he's going to be, he's
on the downhill.
He's on the downhill.
Yeah. It'd be used as a kind of a gatekeeper almost. After this, you'd have to think.
I don't think he'll let. At least I think this. I don't think Kovalev will let it get to that point. If he starts noticing they're using him as a fucking gatekeeper, he might just quit. He might be like, I'm done with boxing. But
you'd have to say though, bro. But I think Bivol's with main events, isn't he? Or he's working with main events. Like he's kind of linked with main events. I think he's with World of Boxing in Russia, but he's with main events. Like. You'd have to think at this point, like main events, they've got them both inked. That they're thinking, if Kovalev beats Alvarez, we're going to feed Kovalev to Bivol, to Bill Bivol. That's where he's at.
He might do that for a fellow countryman. He might do that for a guy like that. Maybe he feels comfortable with the way they fight. That it's going to be an honorable fight. Look, if you pay attention to boxing long enough, you know that. There's some A-side bullshit, and it usually favors Western fighters, right? And he probably would be like, you know what? I can do this for a fellow countryman where I know that I'm going to be given a fair fight to win. I'm not going to get punched in the balls. I'm not going to fucking, if I'm properly winning on the scorecards, there's a good chance that I can get it if it goes 12 rounds. So, yeah, I can see that scenario playing out.
I hate the fact that we're talking about Kovalev like this, man. Like, this guy was destroying everybody before he fought a Ward. And this wasn't even that long ago, man. We're talking like this guy's completely done, man. It's just sad.
Well, whose fault is it, man? I mean, the guy, when he showed up against Alvarez, I'm telling you, I saw a lot of his fights over in Canada. The guy was very sharp. I was telling people that. And he showed up sharp against Kovalev. And Kovalev, for his part, he showed up like he was just trying to go through the motions. Like he was gonna figure it out the day he showed into the ring, and then even then he started to outbox Alvarez when he started figuring him out. But then of course he got caught, but he needs to show up in shape. He needs somebody that can straighten him out, because those fucking trainers that he chooses, it's like Miguel Cotto. But even then, Miguel Cotto at least had the discipline to train hard. Kovalev, it just seems. I mean, come on. If you're drinking during your training camp,
yeah,
something wrong there.
I mean, is he really doing that? Or is that
yeah. No, yeah. There's a lot of evidence that points to he does do it. So.
All right, who's vacuuming in the background?
Not me, man. I'm in dead silence.
I hear somebody vacuuming.
It's Guerrero, man.
Is it Guerrero?
Oh, it's gone. No, yeah.
Guerrero, are you vacuuming in the background? All right, we're not gonna.
I'll turn my mic off for the time being.
Yeah. Well,
all right, that's good.
Yeah, if you're not gonna talk again, guys, please turn that mic off so we don't hear any interference. So Kovalev, I don't know. Again, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. We tend to judge fighters on their last performance. Kovalev wasn't looking that bad prior to the Alvarez loss. So, I mean, I think maybe Cameron has a point when he says that look at how we're talking about Kovalev now as if he's finished. Do you guys think he's really finished? I mean, he got dropped and stopped by a top guy. It's not like he lost to a bum.
If he loses the rematch, I think he pretty much is at top level. Like,
but why though? I mean,
go on.
But why though? I mean, if he loses to Alvarez again, he's not losing to a bum.
No, of course not. But like, Kovalev's not the same fighter. Like, he's just not, man. I think everybody would agree with that. Like, since the Ward fight, he's missing something. He's missing quite a few things. I think, like mentally, he's missing things.
Well, yeah, I thought Apology was going to say something, but apparently not.
Same, yeah.
All right, Recognize, go ahead.
Yeah, fuck, I almost lost my train. All right, yeah. When you start losing your mental edge in fighting, right? Physical sports, it's not a good thing.
I think Kovalev thought he was on top.
Definitely not a good thing.
I think Kovalev had he had his own aura where he felt like he was invincible before the Ward fight. That's what I feel like.
I also think he has regrets.
Yeah.
Did you say regrets or regressed?
Regret
and regressed somewhat too.
Right.
That's a fighter, but regret. I think I think it's the Andre Ward fight. There's some type of, I don't know what it is exactly. You know, maybe it's like fighting him, period, or dealing with that nonsense, or saying, you know, if I knew they were gonna fucking stop the fight with this guy low blowing me, I would have fucking took some action in the ring. You know, because look, man, I know everybody is like, look, man, it's boxing. It's he's a gentleman. He doesn't do that. When you're getting punched in the balls and nothing happens, trust me, man. You start thinking to yourself in your head, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. If they keep allowing him to do this, I'm gonna take action right back. And maybe Kovalev is like, man, I gave the ref and the whole boxing establishment the benefit of the doubt, and I got fucked. You know, that's losing your mental edge. That's feeling sorry for yourself. You're not supposed in a combat sport. You're not supposed to be feeling sorry for yourself. You're supposed to have that viciousness through the whole thing. The whole thing. You start losing it. That's when you start losing.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point, because I mean, I'm not saying, I wouldn't say that that's the only factor, because maybe he was regressing already, and then that plus him being disillusioned with boxing, maybe it's a whole bunch of things that made him end up where he is right now. A good example of that would be Marvin Hagler. After he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard, he just retired because he was already on the downslope a little bit, and he said, well, wait a minute, I mean, I'm slowing down, then I get robbed. Why the fuck should I keep going? If I keep going, maybe I run into Mike McCallum or something, and I really look bad. So he decided to end it. And maybe Kovalev, maybe he should end it. I don't know. That's a decision that he needs to come up with by himself.
You guys know if Kovalev's like broke or in debt or something? Because if he's not, he should just retire.
You think he should retire then?
Yeah, if he has a lot of money, then he should just end it.
Well, there you go. That's one point of view. I mean, well, here's a question then. Is it a good idea to jump in against Alvarez right away?
I think so. Like, I think Kovalev will be motivated to try and do much better in this rematch. Instead of like weighing it out, it's going to be on his mind. So instead of weighing it out, he should just go in there and see if he can do it. And if he can't win, then he'll be like, I gave it his best. Then that's it. I'm tired.
You know what? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I hear you.
So I think my internet's playing up a bit. So if I break up, just let me know. I just want to say, I think Kovalev. Bollocks! I forgot what I was going to say now.
Casual boxing fan right there. This is what a casual boxing fan sounds like, ladies and gentlemen.
He had a brain freeze.
No, I've had brain freezes too, plenty of times. I mean, yeah.
I can't remember what I was going to say.
All right, hold on. We'll let Cameron. We'll give you a couple of minutes to recompose yourself. Go ahead, Bucho. So, yeah.
There's a debate in the chat because I don't know if you saw, but there's another Ali documentary that's going to be coming up on HBO. It's going to be like the 456th, I think.
yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, I was just a debate how good Ali. Oh wait, sorry. I was having a debate. Sorry, I'm reading the comments about who had the best job at the heavyweight division. And also a debate about if Ali really was the greatest of all time. So I was like, maybe we should do a show just focusing on Ali, man. And I remember Precise was saying that he was on drugs or something.
Well, hold on. Let's break this into chunks because I think into chunks because I think Cameron also. I think he just remembered what he was going to say. Go ahead, Cameron.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Basically, I was on the Kovalev thing. I agree with what Apology said. I think Kovalev could be very motivated for this fight because, I wouldn't say, I can't agree with what BDA is saying. He might not be done if he loses the Alvarez rematch, but we're talking about a guy who's lost 4 of his last 6 fights and he's going to have to start from the bottom again. And he's already lost a lot of mental edge, like Recognize said. So if he loses this rematch, is he going to be completely done mentally? Does he, at his age, would he really want to come back from the bottom and pick all these wins up and climb up the rankings again? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's a must-win for him at this point.
Yeah, I can see where Apologies.
It's like.
Go ahead, Recognize. Go ahead.
It's like getting it's like getting a job, right? And you get paid a certain amount of money, and you start having a certain amount of expenses. To go back down to like 5 times lower than the pay you used to get. Can you do that? Can you actually do it? You can't, right? Unless you're willing to give up everything that you all your living expenses, which probably has to do with a house, stuff for you if you got a family, stuff for your kids, and all of that. It becomes harder. It just becomes too hard. So most guys don't make it to the top, then drop to the bottom, and then they're saying, I'm willing to work hard to get back to that at the ages of, in your mid-30s or whatever age Kovalev is.
That's a good point, man.
I don't think, if I had to guess, I'm going to say no. If he loses this fight, he's done.
That's a good point because I can see.
He might be done already,
but I can see where Apology is coming from about dipping right back into the pool even if it's cold. But like you're saying, it ties into that, which is that maybe he doesn't feel like he should be downgrading to an opponent. I mean, listen, I remember when I used to perform, I retired, and then they came back to me 5 years later and they offered me less than my quota. And they like, come on, if you want the legend back to perform, you gotta step up to the plate and come a little bigger. So I understand what you guys are saying about that. Number 2,
you went from banging Bambi. Now they wanted you to bang like Kiki from the hood, right?
Exactly. No. I'm up there with.
I'm still banging Bambi. That's what I want.
Well, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with Bambi, but the point is this.
I don't know these crazy porn star names that they have.
Yeah,
boys,
like.
I'm gonna shoot because we've been talking boxing about 7 hours straight now, and I'm shattered. So have a good show, man.
All right, Cameron. Thanks a lot. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk more light heavyweight. There's a whole bunch more to say about the light heavyweights. We didn't even talk about Beterbiev, but I do want to address what Bucha said in the chat room about Ali. I mean, guys, we've all been watching boxing for a long time. I mean, have we had enough about Ali and the way they treat him with kids gloves in the media. Like, this guy's the best human being that ever lived.
What's he calling Joe Fraser, like making fun of how black he was and stuff like that?
Yeah,
he was.
I mean, like, what the fuck is that, man?
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
They never mentioned it.
BDA, like, it's just Ali is just a media darling, great fighter and all, but greatest of all time, based on what, man? All the gift decisions that he got, all the robberies that he won. I don't think so. Dude had no defense, man. Get out of here.
He relied on his reflexes, and when those reflexes went, he would lay on the ropes and he would let guys kick the shit out of him until they got. He pulled a homer, essentially, like in that episode of The Simpsons. But look, listen.
Yeah. I remember. Go ahead.
I think I mentioned this before, but there's just like weird, like what's the word for it? Like intense, like sexual fantasies for past fighters.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh God, it's so good. Oh, do you see what I mean? They fought like 200 times. Oh my God.
It's for people who got daddy issues, man. It's like,
it's like they got like some daddy issues going on in their life. They got to worry about some guy in 1952, 1940s. I'm like, look, man, I'm sure they were great for that time. I'm talking about right now.
Like, most people haven't seen one single fight of Ali, like, or maybe one or three fights, man. They all just
watch
rely on
documentaries,
Yeah, exactly. And they all, Joe Foreman was the greatest ever.
You look at actual skill, the skills they had.
By Usyk would have whipped his ass.
Well, listen. Hold on.
That style of fighting compared to the style of fighting we get today. Come on, man.
Well, look, listen. In terms of the fights, he showed a lot of heart because he was a fatso after he came back from his and he was still able to beat. But look, listen, hold on. I'm not insulting him for being fat. What I'm saying is that he showed a lot of heart and he beat a lot of good fighters. What I'm more interested in, but hold on. What I'm more interested in is the outside of the ring, because I don't understand why they propped him up as a symbol of what a great human being is. Because first of all, he chose not to go to Vietnam.
Hold on.
Apology.
Sorry.
Yeah. He said he didn't want to go to Vietnam, but a lot of that, from what I understand, was fed to him. A lot of those famous lines that he was celebrated for uttering were actually fed to him by the Nation of Islam. Number two, everybody always says like, oh, he grew up poor and he became this big star. He wasn't poor. In those days, if you were a big amateur boxer, they took care of you, kind of like they do nowadays in college and all that, college football. So he got taken care of pretty well. He lived in a good neighborhood. He didn't grow up in the ghetto. All right, that's number two. Number three, he was an awful person towards Joe Frazier, who helped him out. He helped him out when he couldn't fight. He was giving him money. He got him that fight. And what did Ali do? He turned it around and he started calling him a gorilla. He started making fun of him because he couldn't read. I mean, he was a... And he even admitted it, I think. Ali, I think, admitted it later on. Years later. Was that?
Muhammad Ali couldn't read.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And that's the thing. This guy was a... He was a bad human being, and for the media to start portraying
to go to Vietnam was kind of okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, that was common sense, really.
Was he this saint that they're trying to make him out, this survivor of giving up everything for what he believes in? I think it's over exaggerated. Now, was he the worst human being? Of course not. I'm not saying he was the worst human being, but I think Precise said it. He was the media darling. They try to prop him up to be something that I don't know about back then, but at least now they're trying to make him be like this all-time great. You cannot compare no one. I mean, absolutely no one compared to Muhammad Ali. It's bullshit. It's the media trying to feed you nonsense that he's this Babe Ruth or something like that of boxing, when there were other guys that did it just as good as him, if not better. I mean, and I'm talking about in his time and a little bit before his time.
Right.
So
if Klitschko would have been black, would he have had a different career in the U.S.? If Klitschko would have been black,
just American, I think he would have. But yeah, black also. But
if
you were American,
I mean, people are getting mad in the chat now.
Yeah, being
There's this-
American or being a certain whatever, being a certain.
Yeah, I meant
race,
American,
whatever.
like African American, not just black.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because
he could be from Ghana and nobody would give a shit, right?
we see how Anthony Joshua is received by not all. I'm not saying all, by African American fans here. We see how they don't like him, right? They don't. They talk bad about him. They call him all kinds of fucking crazy names, But
recognize you're cutting off.
just like Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
And if Anthony Joshua was an American, they'll love him, or at least over here in America, they'll love him just as much. Yeah.
Now I want to. I want to add something real quick.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Just real quick. Rascal in the chat says, "Hate all you want, but Usyk will never have a resume like Ali." I don't give a fuck about Usyk. I'm just pointing out that Ali has been venerated by this, this cult of Ali, the greatest, and it just wasn't true. So if you want to keep believing that shit, go ahead. But I mean, you're not gonna get to us by bringing up Usyk, because again, I don't give a fuck about Usyk. I'm talking about Ali. Sorry, Precise. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna basically say what you were saying. I mean, even someone like, look at me, Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, is Ali better than him? You know what I mean? To me, and he was so time, and I believe he laid the blueprint for Ali's style. Anyways, so whatever, man. Anyway, yeah, like I completely agree. Ali was overhyped, and rose up during a very tumultuous era in American history, and they played that up, and they used them to, kind of give the people an icon, and piss off white people so they come to his fight like Mayweather to see him get knocked the fuck out, and give black people someone to look up to so they go to his fights too. It's brilliant marketing. It is what it is.
That's how they make money, man.
Well, yeah. It's a cult. It's a cult of personality. That's what it's all about. And by the way, he didn't go to Vietnam. That's okay. I'm not criticizing for it. I'm just saying that it wasn't like it was a common sense thing to do. Now that I didn't have common sense, that's why Bucho and I went like fucking idiots. But
yeah, because you guys are stupid. I mean,
I don't blame him for not going. I don't blame him for not going.
Sorry about that. Having flashbacks. Sorry,
no,
what
I was
was
gonna
you
say I don't blame him for not going, because it's a look, man. What the fuck did Vietnam have anything to do with America? It has nothing to do with what was going on there. Had nothing. It was not gonna happen.
Well, they had to stop the domino effects. The domino effect was gonna take place, man. Once Vietnam fell, every other country was gonna fall.
Yeah, the infamous domino effects was gonna hit America. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but it's like, look, I don't blame him from that, but he wasn't a fucking saint. The guy had, he had tremendous issues. He's been married 4 or 5 times or something like that. He fathered children with different women, like me. Hey, listen.
You should do a documentary on the Recognize, man.
Yes.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying, listen, he's not a perfect. He's not, and as a fighter in the ring, he was great for that time. He was pretty spectacular to watch. But for right now, there's nobody that can be as good as him. And I don't know who it was. Somebody commented, about his resume. We're not, at least for me, I'm not talking about his resume or his place in history. What I'm saying is, you compare him to fighters today, the way they fight today, like a guy like Usyk. Usyk beats him.
Oh shit! Everybody dropped off from the call. My goodness. All right, so we'll get back to that. I think I have to call Recognize back on this one. Okay, we got some people coming back here.
Didn't Precise say that back in those days, the Ali days, Ali was the only one that was throwing straight punches?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a bunch of wild swinging, crazy. Like when Norton showed him a good jab, and I don't think Ali ever beat Norton. I know it wasn't the same Ali anymore, but still, I don't think he ever beat Norton. And
look at Foreman. Like, goddamn, that guy was like Wilder.
You can make an
of that
argument.
time.
You could make an argument that Foreman was the better heavyweight because Ali got a whole bunch of second chances, and Foreman fought those same guys and knocked them the fuck out the first time around. And then by the time when he finally fought Ali and Ali beat him under whatever, he won. It was a great fight, but he wouldn't give Foreman a second chance. You know what I mean? So when you compare how Foreman performed against the same guys, he performed better than Ali. He didn't need second chances. But then Ali wouldn't give him a second chance. So did we find out who was better? I don't think so. And then Foreman comes back and has a second career, you know what I mean? So maybe he was the better heavyweight.
I mean, just that Foreman. I think he didn't give Foreman a rematch because Foreman was breaking his body, man. Like, if he gave him a rematch, Ali might have retired. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
He's taking so many shots
earlier than he was supposed to. Than he ended up retiring. Yeah,
that's why I give Ali credit, man.
Point.
That's why I give Ali credit because he did have a lot of heart, man. I mean, can you imagine staying on the ropes and taking those big shots from George Foreman? I mean, that must have.
What a plan!
Well, what is?
No, really, what's his plan? I mean, his plan was to get fucked up, man, and then hope that Foreman got tired, man.
Well, that's why
he
was
drugged out of his fucking mind. Yeah. That's why he did that. He was high. No, I mean, this is a fact. This is a historical fact. People could cry and say hate. The dude was fucking off his biscuit, man. He was so fucking high in that ring. Just listen to his interview after the fight. Yeah, where's the energy coming from? Why are his eyes bugging out? Where's all this energy coming from after this fight? It looked like he wanted to go another 15 rounds. He was on methamphetamine. Like, this isn't even, like, we know he was taking speed. That's what they found in his system.
It's a distinct possibility that it's a distinct possibility because remember, there was one fighter, I forget what his name was, back in the mid-2000s. He was in a car accident and he got out of the car, which you're never supposed to do, and the other guy was high on speed, I think, and he had a knife, and the guy hit him, the boxer, professional boxer hit him, had no effect on him, kicked him in the balls, had no effect on him. The guy just kept coming. So maybe, a little dose of speed or whatever, maybe that does the trick.
But he was getting fucking wailed on, man.
He was getting wailed on. And by the way,
smiling and shit. Come on, man.
Here's an interesting question. Getting away from Ali, because another criticism of Ali, he created a bunch of Ali clones after he retired. Everybody wanted to fight like Ali. Kind of like everybody wants to fight like Mayweather nowadays. But, or Lomachenko. Here's the thing. George Foreman, we're talking the old version of George Foreman. A lot of you guys, I remember, had him beating Mike Tyson. Because remember, that fight was supposed to happen in the 90s before Tyson got sent to jail. A lot of you, I think some of you had Foreman winning that fight.
Stu had Foreman winning that fight, I remember.
Yeah, that's
even
winning what fight?
Tyson against George Foreman, and I said Tyson beats any George Foreman, even the young version. So.
I would have to agree. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Oh, sorry. I just forgot one last thing because about Ali. He brought up about Ali laying on the ropes and getting wailed on by Foreman. You remember that documentary? And it's backed up by Larry Holmes. That. One of the reasons why maybe Ali suffered from Parkinson's later on is because during sparring, he would just practice that rope-a-dope all the time and allow guys to hit him. So maybe that's why he got fucked up as well. I don't know.
Too. He was on a lot of drugs.
Yeah, wouldn't that? Which, by the way, if you're a Muslim, aren't you supposed to be drug-free or something?
Well, they says that, but who follows their religion really?
Well,
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of religions where they're supposed to be a certain way, and they be out there hanging out with girls, doing drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's be honest, Muhammad Ali was into the girls. I mean, that's why he, has like 7 kids or 6 kids from like 4 different women. I don't know, whatever many kids he has. Obviously, the guy had issues with being faithful, and I don't knock him for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. It is what it is, and it happened. And he's not. My point is, he's not this saint that they try to paint him out to be.
Exactly.
I just keep it real. I mean, the guy The guy had questionable allegiance to the black Muslims in America. Okay, it was very questionable.
Do you guys know who Willie Pastrana was, a light heavyweight champion from Louisville?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was his name?
Ali never gave the man credit, but when Ali was a little tyke, he actually learned his style from Willie Pastrana. If you go watch Willie's fights, you're gonna see how Ali got his style from a white man that he never was gonna give any credit to, especially after he became a Nation of Islam Muslim. He started talking about Sugar Ray Robinson. No, he learned his style from Willie Pastrana. This is a really, it's not a very well-known fact, but they trained together under the same coach in Louisville when Ali was still a young kid. Now he improved the style and he was more athletic and better at it. But go watch some old Willie Pastrana fights. It's complete Ali, man. That's where he got his style from. Just FYI.
Gonna look into it.
Don't forget, he also I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting. I mean, I've known about Willie Pastrana, but I haven't seen him fight. I don't think I ever saw him fight. By the way, apology. Thanks for being on. He had to go. Another thing Ali did, he threw Malcolm X under the bus when Malcolm X started realizing that
when Malcolm X started speaking some real truth.
Yeah,
exactly.
He had to go.
When he started talking about the divide and that the Nation of Islam was actually more intent on dividing than uniting. Whoops! All of a sudden, he gets ostracized and he gets murdered
and he gets
by.
Killed. And when Malcolm X started to realize that they were being played on both sides of the spectrum, right? He started to speak on that. Is when his number was up, and Ali looked like he was for the system, to keep the status quo, and whichever way you look at it, if you think that Muhammad Ali was right, or you thought that in the last days of Malcolm X he was wrong, there was definitely a divide between the two, between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali did throw him under the bus.
Right. Yeah, he did, man. He threw him under the bus, and then he regretted it, but a little too late. Then again, it takes balls to stand up to, because again, it's one thing to stand up and not go to Vietnam. It's another one to go against your entire group. I mean, I know I'm not justifying it, but I am. I mean, I'm not excusing it, but it is what it is. With that was just a whole other thing with that. And by the way, speaking, because I want to just talk a little briefly about that George Foreman. Who would have won between old George Foreman and old Larry Holmes?
Shit.
Yeah.
Which old Larry? Are you talking about Larry Holmes who fought fucking Butterbean, man? Like the 50?
Larry Holmes? No. Larry Holmes who beat Ray Mercer.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was pretty impressive that he beat Ray Mercer. But then again, Ray Mercer wasn't really a good fighter. He was a good fighter, but I mean, he was just not technically.
Remember at some point Ray Mercer was knocking everybody out of the ring?
Yeah, he was doing that shit purposely too.
I think so, man. Because come on, man.
No, he was doing it purposely. Just look at when he had these guys like basically out. The referee's not stopping the fight. He just kept going. He's trying to knock their ass out of the ring. What he did to Tommy Morrison was sick. I mean, I don't know what the fuck the ref was thinking about, but he just made
you gotta go down. You gotta go down.
I think that was the second worst thing that ever happened to Tommy Morrison.
Oh man,
I say George Foreman beats him.
You think George Foreman
beats old Larry Holmes?
You know what? It's interesting because every time I watch old Foreman, like I was rewatching old Foreman versus Holyfield, and people in the chat and the comments were saying, "Oh, young Foreman beats every heavyweight ever," and I'm like, "Wait a minute! This is the guy that lost to Pity Patting. What's his name? Jimmy Young? No, not Jimmy Young. Ron Lyle. I think the guy, the Chris Bird of the 1970s. I forget what his name was, but a slick guy.
Are you talking
yes.
about that beat Foreman's? That beat
Yeah,
Foreman?
in Puerto Rico, I think it was. When the guy that made Foreman see Jesus in the shower. He's the guy that made Foreman see Jesus in the shower after the fight.
Yeah. You're talking about Young. I think his last name was...
Cameron says Brian Nielsen.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Brian. Come on. You know what? I'm going to look it up.
George Foreman right here. I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, wait a minute. So you're saying George Foreman beats old Joe Frazier? I mean, old Larry Holmes.
Yeah. I say prime Foreman versus prime Holmes. I'm going with Holmes to win.
Yeah, he just outboxed
Jimmy Young. He fought Jimmy Young.
Yeah, Jimmy Young.
Jimmy Young was the guy that beat him. He wasn't a big puncher.
He also should have got the win over Ali, Jimmy Young, but
he lost. I mean, he got stopped. It is what it is.
No, I'm talking about Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young should.
Jimmy Young.
People in the chat are saying that 70s boxer you guys were looking for was Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, that was Luis Ortiz.
Yeah,
he was already fighting. He was fighting under a moniker. Luis Ortiz, I think Luis Ortiz is an immortal, and he just goes through
like a Highlander, man.
He's a Highlander, yeah. He goes around chopping heads off. Listen,
that's John Gonzalez, man.
Oh yeah, that's John Gonzalez. And John Gonzalez made a good point about Kovalev. He said maybe Kovalev starting a family is what made him lose his balls. I think Apology would agree with that. You know, fucking Apology with his MGTOW. Now that he's in university. It's a different thing because now he's seeing ass.
He's not talking about MGTOW too much.
Man,
exactly.
I hope Apology grows out of that MGTOW thing because he's gonna end up like that other guy we interviewed.
You really want little kids running around talking? Do we really want that?
Oh man,
probably not, man.
Oh, and by the way, Precise. Now that the podcast is slowing down a little bit here, because we've been on for about 2.5 hours, I want to ask you.
Well, now you're gonna give me a chance to talk. All right, I see how it is.
Well, come on. I mean, there's only so much amphetamine talk. There's only so much amphetamine talk we can talk about. Well, what did you want to say something about Larry Holmes versus Foreman?
No, what I'll say this much about Foreman, I think not in his era, but like comparatively, I thought the older Foreman was better than the younger Foreman. He actually picked up a lot of skills, and he was just so fucking tough when he was old. It was impossible to knock his ass out.
That's true, man.
Well, he had to pick up something because he wasn't moving at all, man.
Exactly.
He actually developed some sort of jab, at least, compared to that old Foreman.
He actually developed a really good, like, educated jab, not the strongest jab, but he was using it very intelligent. Anyway, what were you gonna say, BDA?
Well, actually, now you get me back on Foreman versus Holmes, because well, actually, you know what? Just one thing here for people listening: watch old Larry Holmes versus Evander Holyfield, and watch how experience can get you out of a lot of binds during when you're fighting a younger, better conditioned fighter. Larry Holmes was fighting in spurts, laying on the ropes, countering, and he gave Evander Holyfield, a prime Evander Holyfield, a hell of a fight. So that's a underrated classic for everybody out there to watch.
Okay, Rascal222 in the chat says AJ would lose to Tommy Morrison, Bert Cooper, Tyson Tula.
I think he's trolling a little bit. I mean, come on, Bert Cooper. Bert Cooper would beat. Come on, I don't think Bert Cooper even beats Dylan White. I mean, I'm not saying Bert Cooper's. I'm not saying
it's not like Povetkin won a gold medal in the Olympics. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like Povetkin never won a gold medal, you know.
Had he been 5 or 6 years younger, though, who knows? I mean, he might have beaten.
I think 2 years
exactly.
ago, he probably beats AJ.
Because he started getting tired, and he had to keep up that tempo. But I don't think he could. He was just 39 years old, man.
You know what?
Also, he came in to knock him out. He came to knock. I give him credit. Give Povetkin credit, man. That's a bad game plan when you're the much smaller guy to go in there and try to knock out the bigger man, the guy who's 4 inches taller than you, and about 25 pounds heavier than you, and 10 years younger. You know, that's what he came to do. He wasn't trying. You saw the scorecards, right? You guys heard about the scorecards?
No.
2 judges had it 4 rounds to 2, and 1 judge had it 5 rounds to 1.
Oh yeah, I heard about the 5.
Come on,
5 to 1.
He knew the deal. He fought like that, and
Exactly.
I think if he would have boxed a little bit more, he could have made it. He could have made it. Or if he was more tactical about his attack, he could have made the fight more interesting. But he was going for the kill. He's like, look, I know what's going to happen if it goes 12. You know, they're going to give the fight to Joshua.
Well, we knew that going in. I mean, everybody was talking. Bucho kept asking people in one of the podcasts, like, do you think he can get a fair shake in England? And everybody was saying no. Even Stu, who's British, he knew the deal. I mean, everybody, like you said, Povetkin knew what was up, and he knew he had to fight the way he fought, all out, or else he was going to get shafted in the... He went down swinging, is what I'm trying to say. So good for him, even at his advanced age. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I was going to ask Precise in relation to the... You've been doing the fucking vegan videos for about a good, I think, 2-3 months now, maybe more, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, and I just reading the comments and watching the videos and the people the people that you're covering.
We couldn't hear what you said, bro.
Okay, yeah, just reading the comments in your videos and watching the people that you're covering, the type of people that they are. I don't know how you deal with that. I mean, what's more toxic, dealing in that environment with vegans or dealing with the idiosyncrasies of boxing?
That's a good question, man. But you know, these are soy boys. It's all facade with boxing fans, but like actually, I don't know. It's about the same, really. But yeah, no, I can't really answer that one. That's a good point.
It's a tough one.
Both are emotional.
Yeah, the internet's just toxic. It really is what it is. However, unlike when I was dealing with boxing fans, now that I'm like I completely changed my diet. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like I'm a lot calmer and like I'm a lot chill. My mood is much better. So like the shit's just, you know, it doesn't really affect me at all anymore.
Right.
So that's the difference. It's just as toxic, but my disposition has changed. So it is what it is.
Maybe Low Place should become a vegan. I mean, sorry, carnivore, full-on carnivore.
He needs to get on a good diet, period. Because like,
he looks like a tiger, right?
He's fat.
Well, he looks like a hunter. You know, no shirt.
You guys are being nice. You should have told him fat. He's a fat man.
Recognize. You should get him on a plan. You should become his personal trainer and straighten him out.
How old is he? I know he's. How old is he? He's a young man, right? He's about 30s, early 30s, late 20s.
I think he's late 30s, man.
Late 30s, okay, all right, but there's no excuse.
There's no excuse, no. Well, actually, I think he has an excuse. I think he has an excuse. I think he said he had back problems, severe back problems, so maybe that impedes him from working. But then again, he could eat better. Maybe.
We're talking about fucking this shit.
And by the way, it was Cameron.
He needs to get off the fat fuck diet. That's what's going on.
All right, Cameron is not being nice either in the chat room. But yeah, man, listen, fucking. I just wanted to add that about vegans. They really are quite toxic people, and I think I put the finger on it because if you listen to a lot of what they say, they do think that animals are better than people when it comes to morals, which is stupid because of course animals don't have morals, and we are animals as well, but that's what differentiates us is that we're self-aware and we have consciousness. So I think that with these vegans, it just happens to be that a lot of them, I think veganism attracts a lot of psychopaths. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of narcissists, because it gives them the edge, or a perceived edge, over people that are carnivores. Because it lets them say, "Hey, I don't eat animals. I don't kill, living beings in order to sustain my life, and so therefore I am better." But like somebody said, in one of Precise's videos in the chat room, I mean the comment section, he says, well, you're eating plants. Plants are alive as well, so technically you are killing something. And the process of getting grains and all that, you do kill animals. I mean, you're killing vermin that might be eating your crops and all that. So you are killing. That process does involve killing animals. So that's just my 2 cents on this whole thing. I don't think you need to make 50 videos to point that out, Precise. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. These fucking people, a lot of these vegans they're a little nuts, man. And disingenuous.
Nothing, especially logic, penetrates the vegan force field, bro. These videos I make, they're not directed at vegans. They're directed at people who are thinking about becoming vegan because they think it's healthy. And I'm hoping to, there's no hope for the mentally dead. But you can still help people who are on the brink. So that's really who my videos are for. And just to close this off, because I don't really want to be talking about that here. What a lot of people don't seem to understand is that this is a global agenda to take away our right to produce our own food. Basically, it's got nothing to do with like animals or anything. This is a global agenda to grab complete control of food production, and and take that away from us, the people, so that if there's like a crisis or natural disaster, everything, we're going to be completely dependent on the grid, and that's not a good idea.
It's a depopulation agenda.
Also, because I'll tell you this much, Europeans, more so than any other people, and a lot of people believe in this, European genocide, they want to destroy Europe, and I'm starting to really catch on to that also, maybe a little bit late. But look, Europeans, because of where they've lived, obviously, and we're still coming out of the Ice Age, there was no plants to eat in Europe. And whether you were a Neanderthal or a Cro-Magnon, you ate 80% meat, animals. That's what people of European descent ate. So put Europeans on this diet more so than anybody else, they're going to suffer more than anybody else simply because of their history and genetics. So that kind of ties in with this whole let's destroy Europe agenda.
Well, they're also trying to push that synthetic food, it's like some sort of paste, and obviously it tastes disgusting. But I mean, it's like that Butcher. Remember that movie we saw? What was it called? No, not Soylent Green, but it was the one on the train. They're on the train, and in the future, post-apocalyptic future, and they're in a train. And the people in the back, all they get to eat are these bars. And then it turns out they're made out of cockroaches or bugs or something. So I think wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to get people to just.
I'm seeing in the news all this shit now about eating insects and how your insects have high proteins and shit, and how you should. They want us to eat fucking insects and shit now, and they're gonna be eating all the meat.
Look,
man,
insects.
I'm not as knowledge as Precise is on this stuff, but it just makes common sense, man. I can't picture me not eating meat my whole fucking life. No, come on, where am I going to get my strength? Where am I going to get all these, these important vitamins that you need in your body from plants? Just eating plants all my fucking life? That doesn't make
substitutes and all that shit. The fuck is that? Where are you gonna get that shit?
I've seen this one guy who wanted to drop weight, right? I knew a few people like this, but this one particular guy, he wanted to drop weight. So he went on some fucking vegan diet. I forgot what the name of that vegan diet was, but it was this particular one. He looks like shit. First of all, he looks like he aged by a good 5 years.
I was watching
his skin, his teeth look terrible. I'm like,
yeah, man. I was watching one of Precise's video, and I was reading the comments, and then they mentioned this vegan doctor. I forgot his name. He's supposed to be in his early 40s or late 30s, something like that. He looks like he's 60 years old, man. I'm not even joking. I Googled his name, and I was like, what the fuck? He's like late 30s, early 40s. He looks 65 or something, man.
Well, have you guys seen or heard about the King of the Soy Boys?
King of the Soy Boys?
No,
yeah, have you heard of this guy? He's some sort of
Justin Trudeau?
No, wait, now wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I snuck
He's
that
a Justin
one in
Trudeau.
there. Yeah.
It's this fucking guy who he's a communist and a vegan, and he eats nothing but for a period he was. What? Hold on a second. I'm trying to find the guy's.
What are you talking about? Okay, go ahead, BDA. Go finish.
I'm just trying to find the picture. I mean, this guy ate nothing but vegetables, and apparently he actually ended up contracting some sort of disease. Well, not contracting. He actually developed a disease because of a lack of proper nutrients. He was eating nothing but vegetables, or he was on some weird diet, man. And this guy, I'm gonna show you the picture. I'm trying to look for it, but he just looks bizarre. Oh, here it is. Look at this guy, and there's a shitload of them. I mean, there's more pictures. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here. This is what eating nothing but vegetable gets you guys. Hope you can see that there. You seeing that?
Whoa, what the hell is that?
That's
serious?
right.
What the fuck is that, man? Looks like a baby.
Look at him. He's got no muscle at all. No definition. It's like his skin and bones, man. Look at his shoulder. He's shaped like a boy. Like a 10-year-old boy. What the fuck is that?
That's not normal, man.
I think John Gonzalez says that the carrot dude died from eating too many carrots. I don't know who the carrot dude is.
Looks like Uncle Burnt apostrophe says it looks like Stephen Hawking's.
Jeez. Oh, look, another photograph.
Yeah, Overhand says that's what we call a stage 4 vegan.
Stage 4. Stage 4.
The shipper says, what a physical specimen.
I mean, I'm not trying to.
Says built like a Q-tip.
What is that? Dude is like 6 feet, weighs about 120.
Yeah, man. John Gonzalez says looks like a dyke.
I mean, I don't.
Chat room's on fire, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I think maybe also there might be something wrong with him, other than just the diet. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, it's fucking help.
Was that?
Say he needs help. He needs.
You think so? Oh, here it is from the Mercury News. It's called orthorexia, and apparently they actually gave that a name. Hold on, let me just. Okay, it says during a recent trip to the blah blah blah. Okay, starting in the early 20s, Raigini, that's his name, dedicated himself to the vegan and raw food diet. Hold on a second, I'm getting a fucking ad block.
Man said, Give that man a burger. He'll die if he eats a burger. His body will go into fucking shock and just drop.
You know, I think I know you're joking, but I think there is some truth to what you're saying. I do think his body might go into shock if he eats just a morsel
Dude,
of meat.
Okay, you know how he was talking about punch resistance and all that stuff. It's like, can you imagine somebody caving this dude in his chest? It's over.
Oh. You could kill that
guy. His bones are probably fucking fragile and shit. They just probably has osteoporosis or that shit,
Okay, I just found more pictures, and this guy's a real piece of work. I mean, okay, I'm gonna. Nah, I'm I don't know if I should put him up because then we just
go ahead, man.
Making fun of the guy. All right.
Whatever, man.
Put him up.
I hope you guys are watching this. They're not fake, by the way. They're actually like he's a transsexual too, I think. Is he a rapper? He looks like one of those modern rappers.
Holy shit!
What's wrong with that, Goy? What's that wrong with transsexuals? Why won't you have a kid with that transsexual? Come on.
Exactly. I mean,
John
look at this.
In the chat says, "I want him dead."
Jesus, calm down. Oh,
Recognize?
Are
you watching this?
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Is this real? Please tell me this is fake, man.
I don't know. I mean, he's got a.
I mean, look at this.
He's got the Russian emblem on and everything. I mean, I don't know what the fuck is going on, bro.
He looks like he hangs around with Ryan Garcia.
Oh man, what the fuck is that?
All right, you know what?
That looks like an experiment by certain people, that just want to
Yeah.
What are people in the
Made in the lab? He escaped from a lab or something. But
that's
Russian colluder in the chat says that thing is a product of Jewish control.
All right, now wait a minute. Wait just a gosh darn minute. Is he talking about? No. That's our greatest ally. Israel is our greatest ally. Okay, hold on.
Israel here.
All right, so it's called orthorexia because I couldn't read the article because it was I was using ad block. All right, go ahead. Read a couple of comments, and I'm gonna get back to this orthorexia.
Russian colluder now says kite control, and then
okay, come on.
John Doe says he's Ryan Garcia's ex-boyfriend.
That was what I said.
The quack says he would probably give Garcia a good fight. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, listen, if you want to lose weight.
Kite.
What'd you say?
I said I used to fly a kite, but I didn't
have we're just gonna run this podcast into the ground before we go. All right. So yeah, sorry, because I just wanted to explain. I couldn't read the article because of ad block, but apparently this guy suffers from orthorexia. Although not formally recognized in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, awareness about orthorexia is on the rise. The term orthorexia was coined in 1998. Okay, what is it? Fuck. People with orthorexia become... People with orthorexia...
That sounds like... Yeah, I'm not going to say it, man. Whatever.
It's a whole bunch of different eating disorders where you just like so preoccupied. Your whole life revolves around buying food, cooking food, and like eating specific types of food. You're just obsessed with food, and it could be any kind of eating disorder like that. Doesn't matter what the diet is.
Let me ask you guys a question, okay? How many people you know, or if even yourself, that suffered from depression, eating disorders, all this fucking nonsense? Like, how many people in this chat, in the chat too if they want, or on this panel suffer from that or know somebody who suffered from something like that?
Well, I used to... Go ahead.
No, I said no. Eating disorder, never.
I knew somebody that suffered from depression, and you can... It's hard to lift them up when it's a friend of yours and you see them, they got depression, and you're trying to cheer them up, and it's like, oh fuck, what do I do? And I suppose it's the same thing with addicts or
we're
people
talking
like
about
this.
diets here, right?
Yeah, but it's all tied. It's all tied in, man. I mean, any compulsion that you have that becomes an addiction, it's born. There's a deeper reason why that. What should I call that's illness, if you want to call it, is there. So I think this gentleman who suffers from orthorexia, I'm willing to bet he's got some sort of issue going on, daddy issues, mommy issues.
Yeah, that's my point. That was my point. My point is always people like that for whatever reason they fall for these, these scams is what
Crusades.
I call them, really. Yeah, it's like, oh, try this diet. Why don't you try that diet? How about just the old fashioned? Give me some fucking food and let's see how I react to it, or if I like the way it tastes, and if I'm getting sick off of it, I'm not gonna eat it anymore.
Good point.
But a lot of people don't understand that they are actually getting sick from their food. A lot of people believe that depression and all these other disorders, they come from food, but because you've been eating this way since a little baby and it came on slowly and gradually, people don't make that connection. But you guys know Michaela Peterson, right? You're Canadian. I'm sure you know her story. She was awfully depressed and so on and so forth. And she fixed her depression to a point where she no longer had to take drugs, was just diet. And a lot of other people have too. So, your food is most likely making you depressed, unless you had some traumatic experience as a child. It's most likely your food actually that's making you depressed, because what we're learning right now is that you got this microbiome, and like most of you is actually foreign bacteria that gets in you, it basically starts controlling your brain. And like if you feed it sugar, it's gonna always ask for sugar, and it's gonna literally control your brain, and you're never gonna be happy. I mean, I'm oversimplifying things, but this is what we're learning right now: is that your gut is very much tied to your brain.
Absolutely right. It's the gut bacteria. That's why they call a lot of it is related to the gut, man. That's why the people always talk about the gut feeling, because it's they call it the second brain, actually, the stomach, because of all the goddamn.
That's why when you hear somebody who's depressed, they always complain about their stomach. Their stomach. Oh, my stomach is this, is that, and they'll go get checked out, and it's their chest, or if they're complaining about their stomach, well, that's what you guys were talking about. That's like the second brain, or at least the brain seems to be connected to your gut, and then they get into these. They like Precise was saying, they don't connect that you're eating bad is probably what has you depressed. If you were to eat properly, and you would notice that you're not sick, you don't get depressed. Now, if something bad really happened to you, that's different, and maybe you can even get over that by living a good lifestyle, where you're eating good and your mind's not always in the fucking gutter and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a connection between your brain and your stomach, and I believe a lot of that has to do with what you're taking in, what you take in, what you eat. If you're eating bad, more than likely you're going to be feeling bad, and maybe the depression doesn't kick into years down the road, but it happens. I mean, I've never been so depressed in my life where that I couldn't realize that maybe it's something that I'm eating, maybe it's something that I'm drinking, or let me chill out with the smoking, or something like that, something to that.
Do you itch, bro?
Huh?
Do you itch? Is your skin ever itchy? Do you scratch yourself ever?
No. I mean, sometimes here and there, yeah, but not.
That's not normal. That's not normal unless you get bitten by a mosquito or you get some chemicals, and it's not normal to itch, bro.
What if I press my crotch the whole?
What do you mean, like itch all the time, or like it once in a while?
Itch? That shit's not normal, man. Jock itch? No, I'm telling you.
I think he was
Every guy has it. Every guy has it. Why? It's from your diet. It's most likely wheat. It's most likely grain. It went away from me. I mean, I had it like every other guy, but then it just went away.
Well, I was going to mention that when I was growing up, that in school they would show you that pyramid of food, or whatever the fuck it was called, and it was always grains. The majority of your intake should come from grains. I'm like, come on. I mean, it was only later on, when I started researching about diet and all that, and healthy food, you start realizing that the processed bread that they eat. Now, of course, some people say that if you make your own bread or whatever, it's not that
sourdough.
bad.
If you ferment the grain, then it's fine. Sourdough. Yeah.
And then that's fine.
Well, you know where that came from, right? That food pyramid? That came from John Kellogg, because he had contacts in the grain industry, and they wanted to just make bank and sell a whole bunch of cheap ass grain to Americans, and he invented the fucking cereal, which is like the worst thing that American kids ever ate in history. It's just sugar on top of fucking sugar, and fortified with fake vitamins. You know what I mean? But like you said, they made it like the biggest part of the food pyramid. Well, why? Commercial interest. That's all it was.
Yeah, man, because I mean, come on, brave. The other thing is, like you guys were saying, like you will recognize where people don't know about good food. I mean, I remember, seeing people in school and all that, they would bring in, like burgers and pizza and all that. I'm thinking, yeah, that's a great way to fall asleep for your next class, man. Just load up on fucking carbs and pizza and hamburgers and all that. But people back then, they thought, hey, it's what they're telling us to eat. Sandwiches and burgers and meat and bread and vegetables. It's this whole diet thing. Most people don't even know what the fuck they're putting in their body.
Everything in moderation. You got to do everything in moderation. And another thing is when your body, when you when you realize you eat something and your body has a certain reaction to it, and the reaction is not good, that should be an indicator that maybe you should, be careful what you eat. Again, I'm not as experienced as Precise is, but I've always paid attention to the way my body reacted to what I eat, and if it's reacting bad, I try to change it. That's it. Well, I'm 45 years old. And I know everybody's different, man. I don't have no fucking diseases, nothing. And I've ate bad.
You're 45 years old. Good. You're 45 years old, and how tall are you? Because every episode you gotta tell us how tall you are.
6'9"
Come on,
now.
Yeah.
It's growing every episode.
I'm fucking 6'9" now.
Imagine he's a little midget there.
Right? For all you know, I could be fucking 5 feet 2 inches tall.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys are believing me. You're taking my word for it. I could be 5'2", for all you know.
You're taking advantage of our good faith. But I wanted.
Tom Gonzalez said no. He's 5'3".
He's Orlando Cruz. But I'm
saying certain people just pay attention to their bodies, and they listen to when their body reacts a certain way, and they say, I'm not gonna fucking keep eating that shit and complain about acid reflux like X,
right?
And then blame it on the white man.
Exactly. He needs to get right with the Lord first of all, number one, and then start eating correctly. But it's what, Pavel. He said he used to suffer from eczema. How do you say in English? Eczema or eczema?
Eczema.
Eczema, yeah. And he changed his diet, and he stopped eating processed food and sugar and all that. And boom, all of a sudden it went away. So again, if there's something wrong with the gut, the skin is probably going to tell you or let you know first that there's something off balance with your gut. So, and by the way, another interesting thing, because I wanted to treat myself the other day, and I went to McDonald's. I think it was the first time in years that I'd gone to McDonald's. Number one, the burgers don't taste as good as I remembered. It wasn't as good. And number two, I don't want to be too graphic or anything, but my stomach was letting off a whole bunch of sounds, if you know what I mean, based on what I ate. And it's not even that cheap anymore. I got a fucking combo. It was like $8. I thought it was going to be like $5 or something. So not only does the food, is it not good for you, it's not even that good. It doesn't even taste that good either. And it's fucking expensive nowadays compared to what it was years ago. So that's just my little McDonald's
they used to fry their fries in beef tallow, which is grease from the cow, and now they use all these hydrogenated vegetable oils, and the fries just don't taste the same anymore, man. They used to taste good because they had beef in them, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to say real quick, like what Recognize said, everything in moderation. That's generally safe, I would say. But like when you look at the animal kingdom, most animals, they eat like one or two things. You know what I mean? There aren't that many animals that eat like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, they got some tubers, they eat that shit, and they eat some tree leaves, and they'll eat some fruit, and then they'll kill something and eat it too. It just doesn't happen like that in nature. So, me personally, like, I get most of my calories from animal fat, and that's like an amazing feeling. So I like the balanced diet, that whole thing. That doesn't work for me, man, at all. I have to restrict a whole bunch of shit. Like, I can't digest corn, man. I can't digest kale. There's a whole bunch of plants that just come out the same way they come in, and it's just like, well, what the fuck am I doing eating this shit? I'm not getting anything out of it, you know. So I don't know. To each his own, you know what I mean. But people, we're like the most intelligent species on the planet, but we're the only species that doesn't fucking know what should be eaten.
I do believe that maybe this is gonna sound insane, but there was actually I can't find the name of the study, but that they would put food in front of babies, and I think babies instinctually knew which they would be attracted by the nutritious food. Again, I can't find I'll try to find the name of that fucking study. It was from the 1960s. So I do think maybe, it's a crazy theory, But I think maybe subconsciously our gut tells us what we should be eating. I think we do know what we should be eating, but it's just that, like you said, Precise, since we're young, they tell us what to eat and what's supposed to be good for us, and that fucks us up because we don't listen to our gut. We listen to we're taught to listen to our brain. So I think maybe we do know, as a species, we do know what we're supposed to eat. But we just
that would have worked in the 60s because back then people still ate healthfully or much better than they do now. But nowadays that wouldn't work because if your mother eats junk and she eats shit she's not supposed to, when she breastfeeds you, you're getting some of those compounds and chemicals, and you're getting some of that stuff, and your brain is getting, developing a taste for stuff. So, or if they, if you're a young kid and they give you some candy or they want to give you something sweet, that'll change your brain chemistry. That'll change, or maybe not your brain, but that'll change your gut bacteria, and you're already primed up. You know what I mean? But it's likely that if you take newborns who haven't been indoctrinated, so to speak, or they're not used to eating solid food apart from mama's milk, they would probably make the right choices.
Mm-hmm. That's true, man. I mean, again, it's hard to tell, or it's hard to say how people would actually choose in those scenarios, but there's a whole lot of stuff that's been put in our brains that we've been told, and so that, like I said, that skews our choices. By the way, guys, I think we're gonna wrap this up. I think we ended on a usually we end up on a low note. We end up going, talking about ass and tits and all that. Today we ended on quite an intellectual note. I'm pretty proud of how things ended up. So I think that credit goes to you guys. All right. So guys, thanks again for joining us. I want to thank Recognize. I want to thank Precise. I want to thank Guerrero de la Info.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Precise. Thanks, Recognize. Thanks to Guerrero. We'll talk more boxing next time. Or unless, well, actually, he brought up the depopulation agenda, which, by the way, we don't agree with that here at BDA Boxing. We're nice followers of what we're told to do.
Those are conspiracy theories.
That's right, conspiracy theories. And we're pro-Justin Trudeau here, and Israel is our greatest ally. So just make sure to remember that. So I want to thank Recognize. I want to thank Guerrero. I want to thank Cameron, who was here earlier as well. Boxing Style, Apology Man, Abstract Boxing, and who else, Bucho? Who else did we? Am I forgetting somebody? Who else was here?
Oh, I don't know. Recognize.
I already said Recognize.
Abstract.
I already said Abstract.
Apology.
I already said Apology. What's the matter with you? Okay. All right. So yeah, I think we got everybody.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, and
again,
I
have
guys,
the list of to thank the Patreon subscribers: Apology, Brandon, Chris Gonzalez, Graham Lanson, Greg, the Great Carl, Pete Stammers, and the Punisher. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon, and thank you. I want to thank also all the super chat. Yeah, that went well.
There you go. Yeah, that was good. And also, let's not forget, Recognize also donated. He was one of the first super chat guys too. So shout out to Recognize for keeping the BDA gravy train rolling. Now let's go to the chat room. Shout out to Brendan
When are we
White.
getting the call-in show? Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode. It's getting late. Brendan White, Nino Gadji, Rasclot222, Virtuoso, John Gonzalez, Captain Fox, Hawker Mustang. Who else do we have here? Mateus Lee, Centurion Son, Jason Bourne. Not like the movie, or that's an interesting name. Cameron Gillon was in the chat room as well. I prefer to call him Cameron Gillian, by the way. Sounds better. Like I said, Nino Gadji. The list goes on and on. You guys know who you are. Mark Funk, who also, thanks again. Steven Schneider also for the contribution. Overhand.
Peace, everyone.
All right, see you. Recognize. Thanks for being on. Thanks, everybody. Russian Colluder, Uncle Burnt Apostrophe. And we'll see you in the next one, folks. Khalifa Thompson as well. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the next one.